Lina mai kako. Welcome to Keep It Aloha. Part 2 with Etienne Aurelius. Before we get back into it and find out where did he run off to, because I know a lot of people had questions, I want to give a shout out to our newest Patreon member, Justin Kosh. I don't know how to say this. Justin Koch. Let's just call him Justin K, who just joined our Kako'o tier, and he gets to listen to unedited, uncut versions of these podcasts a couple days before they are even released to the public. So mahalo, Justin. And if you want to be just like Justin and join our Patreon and support us, you can head to patreon.com/kamakadias. All right, so here we are with the man of the hour. This is part 2 of Etienne Aurelius.
Gotta have 2 parts.
How you doing?
Like a whole different person.
You look like a whole different person. You don't look sleep deprived.
Yeah, that's what happens like when you reach those levels and 2 weeks straight of building that gallery by yourself. Takes a toll. But I'm super happy. You get so much stronger after.
Yes, totally. And the event went awesome. I was there. A lot of people came out. Some people came out because they saw it on social media. They saw this episode and they came out. They thanked me. I didn't tell you, but some people came up to me and thanked me because they said they wouldn't have known this was going on if we didn't post the episode.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Marketing strategy worked out.
Yeah, I love the fact that you have created this platform and power to elevate people in Hawaii to be somewhat famous. That's always been my dream for this place, because we couldn't turn this into an influential place where you don't have to leave and go to Hollywood. Hollywood's like basically dead,
Yeah, well, here we are. Mm-hmm. And how I want to start this episode, I know we cut off last time. You were about to just drop some bombs about the Maui wildfire. But I'm going to make people wait a little bit, You guys are going to have to hold on a little bit, because we're going to catch up on what we've been up to since that episode. It's only been 2 weeks?
Yeah.
And then I want to start with some social media questions, because I got social media questions and they would lead into what we're going to talk about anyways. But I want to go shout out our fans because I appreciate them so much. So let's go into the social media fan questions, okay? First one comes from Cactus_Hawaiian. This person says, where did he go? So where did you go? Do you want me to lead it off? Do you want to?
Yeah, I got up and I walked outside and just took a breath, and the gallery's right next to your studio. And I looked over and there were some people congregating around one of the murals, and I just went to go talk to them and just ended up building the gallery.
Yeah.
And then I remember we were supposed to come back and you went to go see Faith. But then I just got lost in the gallery. You had to finish it.
Yeah. So basically what happened, You said you're getting all worked up because you were about to drop some bombs. Mm-hmm. Oh, nice. Put on the hat.
Yeah.
You were about to drop some bombs on the Maui wildfires, and you asked to take a 5-minute break. And then you went outside and you were gonna go look for Jane and your baby Max.
She had some of the files.
Yeah. So you're looking outside, and that's where he went. He said he was going to be back in 5 minutes, but he took about 15 minutes. That's why we had to wrap up. So he was outside looking, and Jordan and I were watching you from the top. You were looking into your car. I
was screaming, Jane.
You're outside.
She went to the gallery. That's how I found her. Yeah.
So we're it was kind of funny just watching you wander around the parking lot.
Like an uncle, Jane.
Yeah, exactly. So we're okay. And then we saw you leave, and we're okay, well, we got to end the podcast. But Jordan had to go. I had to go get picked up by Faith, because we had to go somewhere, I forget.
Yeah.
But so we're okay, well, I guess we're just gonna end the podcast. And then as we're recording the ending, you walk in and we're well, we just ended the podcast.
And I was okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So
Jordan's it's on brand.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what happened. If people are wondering, he didn't just randomly disappear and not come back. He was looking for his for Jane and his baby, and he ended up going to the gallery. Yeah. And then he just came back. He just took longer than than the time that was allotted. So that's what happened. But now we're here just a week or two after, and we're about to...
It feels like no time has passed.
Right.
It literally...
Well,
this month never existed.
Tell us how much sleep you got last night.
Oh, bro, I went to sleep at 8 p.m. and I woke up at 12 noon today, the next day. So that's 16 hours.
That's awesome.
That's the most I've gotten the whole year.
Yeah.
Since 2022, I have not tucked myself into a bed. Like tucked yourself in, like I'm gonna get some sleep.
You've just passed out.
Yeah, at the desk or at the table or in my car and just wherever I am, because I just don't feel like I deserve that privilege to go to sleep because it's evolutionary default to me. And you have a lot of time to do that when you're dead. So, you know.
Sleep when you're dead.
I think about it. I've lived like double the life of everybody awake. And so.
Okay, so your episode caused a lot of reactions and I would even say controversy. It was mixed reviews.
Yeah, it's
okay,
good and bad. Yeah.
And I knew that would happen because you're a certain type of personality that either you like you or you don't. You know. And so I had people that texted me, and I even screenshotted them. I sent it to you actually, saying like, dude, that episode with Eve was fire. I think this is my favorite episode so far. And then had people who were like, I couldn't really get through it, you know, because you talk like, you're very passionate. You go off into tangents, but you know, eventually you make it to the destination. And then, you know, we post some social media clips, and they're like, dude, what is this guy talking about? He makes no sense. And then there's people who are like, dude, that is such a cool perspective. I love the way he explained that. So to me, it just goes to show that people just interpret things differently. You know, we can be looking at the same thing, listening to the same thing, and we take something different out of that. And that's the, you know, the point of this podcast.
Visual
is to share
and
information.
intellectual.
You can watch it, you can listen to it. You're gonna take something away that's gonna be different than somebody else. You know, a lot of times it's gonna be a majority kind of interpretation, and then sometimes it's gonna be, you know, a few people thought differently. And that's what I saw on social media. You know, I think at certain parts it didn't look as good just because of the way you explain things and the way you looked. I mean, maybe you can explain to us like what was going on, because like I know you, but I knew this is how you are, so I didn't think anything of it. But for people that haven't seen you, you know, they're like, dude, is this guy high? Like,
100%.
What's going on? So maybe you can explain it to us.
I've got that my whole life. Like every girlfriend I've ever had, they told me the first time I ever met them, they thought I was just high, right? And then like when you're in elementary, everybody's like, he has hyperactive disorder or, you know, ADD, whatever. But all those disorders are superpowers. And the only reason that it's an issue is because you're forcing someone to do something they don't want to do. And they're acting out and trying to, you know, all that like talking in school and moving around. If I was in a performing arts setting, that would be a gold mine. You know, it's just in the wrong settings. And I have a serious, constant battle with my mind. Is like, I see it as a Rubik's Cube without colors. Okay, it's just like a metallic chrome Rubik's Cube. I had a dream about it one night. And it's always spinning, and it's solving an endless amount of problems. And the more I change my lifestyle or change my thought processing, like in 2001, I became obsessed with being wrong. And when I am not thinking about anything, that Rubik's Cube is correcting everything that I believe to be right to be actually wrong, and the new answer just appears in front of me. And I have to hold my idea. I have an endless stream of God tier, multi-billion-dollar ideas that are unlimited, but I cannot even allow them to begin to grow like a tree because I can't act on them yet because I don't have billions of dollars or millions of dollars to execute these things. But like, my mind has the solutions to fucking everything. Like everything. Like
seems like your mind is going so fast that your body can't keep up. Like
the twitches happen.
You can't get it out fast enough. You know, so you end up just talking fast.
It comes from subduing it.
You know, seems like you're talking in bubbles, but you have all these things, and you're so excited to get them out that sometimes it just seems really like you know, aggressive or intense, and you know.
I had to train myself to subdue the creation of ideas, which is complete bullcrap. It's so bad that I have to subdue and create self-discipline to cut off those ideas from coming out. Because if I allow them to grow, I will literally go off the deep end because I can't act on them, and I'll fall into a depression of the highest level. So as a result, it's like a pressure cooker. I'm subduing them so I don't think about them. But what I'm thinking about is what I want to do more than anything in this world. And as a result, it's like the sun in its solar flares. It's just exploding out in twitches. So like when I was in prison, I was being haunted by the memories of the most embarrassing crap I've ever fathomed. And like when I was thinking about it, it felt like I was in the back seat of a car looking through the 2 front seats at someone else driving my body. All those things I did in that whole, burglary ring thing, I couldn't believe I did it, but I was being haunted by the memories. And so I developed this thing where the memory would be like a Polaroid, and I would take a blowtorch and burn it. And then I would like have a Tourette's, and I would say something vulgar, like something like profanic, to just destroy it. So it became kind of like a Tourette's.
Yeah, a little bit of like.
And since I was a kid, like when I used to, my dad would always be like, "What's wrong with you?" Because when I put the seatbelt on, I would always do this. And Makua Rothman has something real similar. Like when he was growing up, the feds kicked in his door and was just pistol whipping his family. And then at 8 years old, he had a AK-47 to his face. And the guy who's looking at the guy, and this guy is just, ever since then, he always does this.
Wow.
Twitching, because the guy grabbed his arm, get up. And so it's a permanent twitch. And I adopt twitches. So when I saw him doing it, I do it now. It's really weird. My whole life's been like, as a director, I can copy
you mimic
anybody and understand how they do things, but I have to vicariously do them.
Yeah.
And so like when I'm going like that, imagine when you're fucked up back in the day. For years, you're doing that. And then all of a sudden you stop, right? Like they say for cigarettes, you should chew gum if you quit. Well, when you quit drugs, there's nothing you can do to simulate the behavior. So it becomes as a reaction when, how people say like F-U-C-K when they pause in a sentence, or like, what do you say when you pause? Yeah. So instead of it's a,
it's like a filler.
Yeah. So like when I'm directing chemo on Piahi, I'm telling him to remember your lines. Do this. Hey, boy, listen. Boy. Hey, listen. Back in the day. Boy, listen. Whack him over and over again and think of your lines like this. Hey, with the Aloha spirit beating in your heart. Listen, boy. You can do anything. You see? It's that movement.
It's like how rappers, they do like they got the like Harry Mack, he's a freestyle rapper. He talked about this. How people have like these things that they repeat over and over. That's like their like gee, you
just did it.
Or,
you just did it.
Or I guess the would be like
when I start looking at it,
like something like that.
It's totally the thing.
That makes sense.
I see human behavior in such a profound, memorable way. As a director, I'm just born to be great at that because I can copy, Xerox it in my mind and then convey it, but also I experience it. So I laugh at things no one laughs at, because I can see why they're doing them. And if I do pay attention, I can catch all of it. Like how we just did with the
Yeah.
But it's a subconscious thing. The whole time I've ever spoken to a human being in person, without trying, subconsciously, I'm trying to hold their attention. So I'll say the most outlandish, crazy crap in conversations, not on purpose. It's subconscious to see that reaction they have. And if it's a good one, I'll know I held their attention more. So it's like this addiction to holding attention. So if people are saying this dumb crap about me online, oh, he's high, I can tell by him swallowing, and I can tell by this and that. How do you know? Right? How are they personally experiencing this on a daily basis?
Well, I had people message me saying, I have friends who are addicts, and those are similar things that they do.
Can they do a podcast? Hi?
I don't know.
Put those addicts right here in my seat and see if they can talk.
I don't have much experience with drugs.
There are no addicts that could get, in their mode and sit here and speak like I'm speaking. Build Elite's Atlas. Make 2 movies in 1 year. Completely shift culture every year on a daily basis and continually take setback after setback after setback after getting screwed over, betrayed, constant bullshit. There are no addicts that can handle doing that crap. And it comes from being able, as overcoming those issues, yes, but like people spend so much time being fake, so much time being perfect. Like a lot of the people I've seen on this podcast, that is not who they are. I know a lot of them personally. It is the perfect version of themselves. But when we take back the curtains and you pull back the mask, we'll see how perfect they really are. Me, I'm just myself, as raw as I can be. And I can see when they're saying these kind of things about me, it pisses me off. Like, it really hurts my feelings, and it really, really infuriates me, because I come from a place where you say disrespectful things about someone you don't even know who is doing something positive. It gets fatal. I've watched 3 people die from saying disrespectful stuff like what they say in those podcast comments. Less than that, paralyzed half their body from a punch. You know, like, fights, disrespect is the pillar of all controversy. Wars, there's a form of disrespect taking place. That's why they went to war. Relationships, the anger is a form of disrespect. That's why they're breaking up. Disagreements in contractual obligations, disrespect is taking place. Disrespect is the cause of all evil created by humanity, and respect is the cause of all love created by humans and humanity. So when someone's being disrespectful about someone who is perpetuating positivity, love, and a better future, who has not slept and came from a gallery of putting our elites on the walls that everyone was too afraid to do for over 100 years, and I go and do it because I don't want our culture to die, and you have one bad thing to say about me, bro, screw you. And I hope that you can find some type of reality in your life, because you should not be able to speak a word about me if you do not have the accomplishments that I've done, because they do matter. Life is about what you've done, not about what you think or what you know. If you're not an accomplished human being, if you don't have things that have changed the lives of people for the better, I'm responsible for literally a huge part of how the world perceives Hawaii. Through Jason Momoa, the whole world looks at Hawaii a certain way today in this era because of what we did with We Are Mauna Kea, promoting the Aloha spirit. Kai Lenny, Makua Rothman, Landon McNamara, Koa Rothman, Nathan Florence. The only people I haven't worked with is Bruno Mars, Carissa Moore, John Florence, and Bretman Rock and whatnot. But Bretman keeps it real, you know? Out of all those people, who promotes the Aloha spirit more than those people, right? But it takes a video to convey that Aloha spirit. And it's me putting myself. So if you don't like me, but you like them, you're completely full of shit, because you liking them is me. I'm putting my face, my ideas, my perspective in front of them.
So what would they say if they heard this?
Who?
Would they agree? All these Makua, Jason, Kai.
They can't not. Look at the videos I've created and look at the impact of the people that know them. They don't know them because they met them in person. They know them from what they've seen. What they've seen is what I've directed, what I've edited, what I've crafted. They can go say whatever. I want to ask them, show me what you made during that time you became famous that contributed to your fame. There's nothing there. And you remove me out of the picture. What are they doing today? Besides Makua keeping it real always. But you know, was there more aloha when I was there? Or is there more aloha now in their lives?
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, so I want to keep this episode super transparent.
Yeah.
And that's just something that I love to do. And if you're okay with it. So in that episode, let's just clear it up for everybody. Were you on drugs?
Where?
In our last episode.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I was literally came from the gallery. Water, coffee, going so hard. I showed the video I time-lapsed and I screwed in all of the frames.
Yeah.
25 canvas frames.
Well, I saw that, your stories. So you did it all on your own.
The mannerisms are just clearly what I just said. They are from a life of trauma, a life of overcoming battles, and they are stigmas of the after effects of what happens to people. Like how I said, people who smoke cigarettes, they have to always have something in their mouth. For me, I have to somewhat continue the mannerisms either being nervous or being... Like when I was breathing so hard, like I agreed with everybody. I was like, oh, wow.
But that was after you grabbed the camera, the red camera.
I was doing
really
this,
heavy.
yeah,
yeah,
and I was doing
see, I knew when I was watching, like you're out of breath. Because even when we were recording live, you were out of breath, and I was like, well,
no, I was like, oh, I look pretty bad right there.
Yeah,
but you know, it's only if you're looking for these signs, bro. I could say that about anybody.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing. Let me talk about this. Somebody messaged me saying like, oh, this episode was one of their favorite episodes, and I was saying had mixed reviews, and some people were saying all these stuff like, oh yeah, they were like accusing him of being on drugs, and he's like, I didn't even notice that. He said, I didn't even think about that one,
because they're thinking about
what you're saying, not
Yeah.
really what you're doing.
The visuals are
Yeah.
like, first off, number one, my confidence is higher than anyone that's been on this podcast.
I think that came
because
off.
I'm the
I think we
fucking
all
man.
got that.
Straight up, I'm the fucking man. Number two, my mannerisms are that of a creative artist or like genius.
And
like,
eccentric.
yeah, it's just like, hey, you're gonna watch what I say because I'm speaking and I'm twitching, and that's something to look at.
Yeah,
It's
I
gonna
mean,
hold your
towards that
attention.
end,
Yeah.
like the clips that we posted, it was after our shishi break, and it was towards the end of the podcast. So we already talked about an hour in. So it did seem like you were a little bit slower.
And I was like, I was sweating.
Yeah, like I think you were probably sleep deprived, and we were talking a lot, and you were trying to get your thoughts together. So I think it didn't come out.
It's funny because
great.
after the podcast, I was like, I think I just said a bunch of bull crap. Like, and then when I watched it, I was like, oh, it's pretty good.
Yeah. See, the thing
is,
is, and how I tell people, and I'll be really honest, you say really profound good things. It's just sometimes you go on a tangent, and it just takes a while to get there.
I don't remember anything from the podcast.
Yeah, you like black out or something.
Completely.
You gotta kind of like sort through all the bushes, the thorns, the needles, or whatever it is to get to like the fruit of it.
And after I say it, there is a period of shock. Like when I just went into these guys talking crap, you were talking and I don't remember what you said. I was just full of rage.
Yeah.
Like in my mind contemplating doing my Aloha checklist.
Yeah.
Act, am I going to be respectful in the next, I'm checking off these things, and it's crazy to see how far I've come to today compared to, just last month. There's always going to be improvement, and then
you seem a lot more calm.
I'm so happy.
It's been a week since the Elite Atlas, so you had a week to kind of recharge and decompress.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still working out there. It's not completely finished, but
it's just being better.
You seem a lot less anxious, a lot more calm.
I'm just so happy I've accomplished something that can inspire people. Like,
so many comments on the visual, the video of all the Elites moving.
Yeah.
People love that one. Chicken skin.
So people are telling me, oh, you got to be humble. So here's the humble. Let me tell everyone, this needs to be said. Humble means a low self-estimate of oneself. It is not when you tell someone good job and they say, oh, nah, no, whatever the hell. You tell me good job, I'm going to tell you, thank you so much. I do this for you. I know it's a good job. I know what perfection is because I have reached it many times and I can see it. Once I think it's perfect, there is nothing to take away from its perfection, and I will accept every compliment because it is for them. Now, to me, how I feel about this perfection, it's absolutely nothing. Like the gallery, it is solely for everyone else to start catching on to how beautiful our culture is, not forget its principles and values, and not let our beautiful monarchs die in the minds of an older generation that is afraid to perpetuate our culture, because these monarchs behind me would jump on boats and sail for years into the abyss of death with weak immune systems and die overseas. Like our king, the second, died overseas trying to create independence for Hawaii and be protected by England. These guys have only heard stories of England. They don't understand, wait, there's vast armies, there's colosseums, Rome, what? So they go there to see what is actually, what they're talking about, and then they just die. Our king and queen die from perpetuating the culture. While all these NHOs and organizations out here say it's not pono or it's pilikia to put our kapuna and have their business out there in the world. What are you talking about? What happens if we don't do that? They die. They're dead already, but their legacy dies. And if their legacy dies, our identity dies. Why under their rule, there are less people who speak Olelo than in the history of mankind. During the Hawaiian Homelands Act, there were 30,000 people that spoke Olelo, 30,000 people alive that were Hawaiian. Most of them were like 100% or half. The idea Kohio said was the best way to bring back the Hawaiian population, 30,000 alive, bro, that's nearly extinct, is to put them back on the land. This was an emergency proclamation. 222,000 acres were given to the Hawaiians to bring back the species. Over 100 years later, only 10,000 people have been given land, including my family. out of 222,000 acres. They sold off the land that is what we know now as our airports and all those things was Hawaiian homelands. They sell the land off and then they buy land up Mauka that they can't develop. They constantly are trying to generate money for their own ambitions and ideas. And it's just people who are failed artists, whether it's in business or in development or civil engineering, having bad ideas, executing them the wrong way. Like, we're not going to have a pension fund because the people in power today want to go and gamble our pension fund on terrible real estate deals. Like, you would never think that the state of Hawaii owns multiple hotels in deals that are used from the pension fund, that it was at once, it was 11 billion, and it is now dropped to 7, and now it's teetering at 4 to 5. You would never know that that was caused by bad business deals, bad gamblings of this pension fund that is supposed to support us. So the generation destroying it is the last generation to have it. And you would never think that because of this behavior, the police and the teachers' pay drops a few years ago. They're on strike. No one wants to work. It drops for them to make the money back, right? So your bad decision, gambling our money, our pension fund, buying hotels, buying land, buying this, like the Robert Trent golf course in Maui. They bought that thing for like around 60 million in the beginning, maybe more. It sold for 18 million, right?
Huge loss.
Because they needed, and so this is over and over again, you know? And it's like,
So they're gambling with our taxpayer
with our
dollars.
pension funds that they
Yeah.
take out every day, and we won't have it. This generation in power. Now, I'm not talking about the generation as a whole. I'm talking about the ones in power. They only know one way, and that one way is to keep the business afloat. The business is their position. A senator is a business, right? We all have a social security number. We are agents, entities, businesses of the government. When you go and open an LLC, now you use your social security to register this business into an LLC. When that LLC maybe grows, it can become a corporation. Now you have a corporation. So human beings, 101, are worker businesses. LLCs are babies of this business. So that business is a new business that we've created. The corporation, that is now what you would call a multi-organized ohana of businesses. Corporations are families of businesses, right? And then when you have any further, it's just government level. You're too influential once you pass that point. So America is in itself a central banking system. The whole thing, America, a nation, is a central banking system. You understand that? It's just a corporation. A nation is a corporation, right? And we're employees of that. Just like Hawaii, the nation of Hawaii is a corporation, because the only difference between the nation as a people and a nation as a corporation, we have currency. The dollars Kalakaua was making, right? Trade, we have a dollar. You are not a nation without a dollar, right? It's, you know what I'm talking about? And so if you know these things, we fighting for sovereignty, we're just fighting for our corporation back. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good metaphor.
So
yeah, that's awesome. I forgot that we're supposed to be doing the social media questions, so I want to jump back into that. Hales 808 says, "Love the Ali'i Atlas. Do you plan to do more art exhibits around the island and beyond?"
Yes, 100%. Thank you for loving the Ali'i's Atlas. That's for you. What we plan to do is that stage 1, and the Echo has like a couple stages, maybe 5 or whatever, but it goes from art to archival clothing, to archival filmmaking, to archival political standing, civil engineering, development of curriculums and education. Stage 1 is showing everyone who we are and what we've come from. I look at places like England and how much they love Princess Diana, how much of a big deal these monarchs are. Those monarchs are descendants of our partners. Like our family, I don't even call them our kings and queens. That's our family. Our family did business with King George. You know, Kamehameha wrote him a letter and it said, my dear Prince George, it's George, I think. It was the King of England, please don't quote me on that. But my dear Prince George, I know that you have your own battles that, oh, no. My enemy seeks to molest me. And I know that you are facing similar battles of yourself. Is there any way for you to assist my people so we can stop this molestation from happening? So he was fighting Napoleon, right? And so brought up from England, sent a couple battleships over here filled with cannons and guns because Kamehameha sent him a beautiful leather cloak, a helmet. Can you imagine? Just like George has only heard from like Captain Cook and Columbus guys, like this place is beauty. And there's kings that wear feather capes, and like he writes you this beautiful letter in English with his Kamehameha signature was an X. And like you get this letter and it's just like you're on the battlefield in France, you're holding France hostage for a siege, and okay, just send a couple battleships over there. And King Kamehameha has no idea if he's going to say yes or no. It takes like a year for that to happen.
Yeah, at least multiple.
How do you send him a
months,
letter, right? Take this letter to King George, this great leader I've heard of that is a leader of the West, and they send a ship, and the king receives a letter from our king with this beautiful feather cloak. Send him a few battleships. Those battleships escorted our ships across the entire state as we dominated from EL Valley.
Valley.
Yeah, the EL Valley. That was the first test run of what the cannons could do.
Yeah.
It just smoked everybody. Rivers ran red. That is why I built the Ulysses Atlas. Stories like that. And there's going to be a lot more.
It's just not the exact same thing. Like, it's not going to be about 30 murals. It's just going to be like different archival.
Those
things.
stories are going to be attached to multiple images across the entire city. Like you're going to be driving through Waikiki, and you're going to see like an 80-foot tall King Kamehameha.
And then you can scan a code.
Yeah,
get information.
say welcome to Hawaii. And then you scan that code. It tells you about maybe a battle from King Kamehameha. You go to Kalakaua in Kohio. We're talking with LaCroix Hotel. King Kalakaua's on one side, Kohio's on the other at the fork. Right? Why not? Why don't we have our monarchs massively standing as pillars of the foundation of Hawaii throughout the city? I don't understand.
On Kalakaua Ave.
Yes, right?
Kuhio.
Every single street name, we're going to put that monarch standing huge in a canvas mural, just like the ones we did in pieces for everybody to understand this area is not, Kapiolani Street. Perfect example. Ward to Ala Moana. When you ask someone what that is, what is this space? Where are you? So when you're at Ward, in between Ala Moana, where are you? Oh, I'm in between Ward and Ala Moana. No. I'm in Kapiolani. Right? This will give identification to areas. And through that, we create districts. Through the districts, we create new kaka'akos. Everywhere we put a king, that becomes prestigious land. That becomes royal land. That becomes high valued. So these artistic pieces elevate the property value, elevate our worth as Hawaiians, make us cool, make us sought after, make us famous, and make us cherished. The Ulysses Atlas and the Echo purpose is to create cultural lucrativity and fame for Hawaiians, to be prized commodities. Because the Greeks and the Romans and all the Spartans and the Persians, they're all dead. But we're still alive, and our stories are way better. We just need to tell them.
Well, like you said, some cultures, they have like the Greek mythology. We have mythology. We have Hawaiian mythology, but they're not as popular as those other people.
But they're
not
better.
mainstream.
They're way better.
Yeah.
And we're still alive.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you could meet like a Greek descendant? How sick that would be. They're still around, but they don't identify as.
Yeah. We'll see how it is in another 25 years because
it's gonna be next level.
Yeah,
we're gonna have our own island.
This is what I tell people too, is like we gotta relax. It's only been like 50 years, a little over 50 years of our Renaissance
under the same control.
Yeah, so like we've already made such big moves and we've made a lot of progress in the language, in the culture, in our sovereignty. If you're part of the sovereignty movement, we've made big steps. It's just it's gonna take a while, but it's only been half a century. Like
under the same power.
If this all this could happen in 50 years, let's
10.
How exciting is it going to be in the next 10, 20, 30 years,
We as millennials could transform this whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
wait till
less than
our
10 years.
generation gets into power.
They don't want to give it to us.
Yeah.
If Daniel Inouye were still alive, he would still be a senator.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. They don't want to pass it out. Clayton He was just running.
Yeah, well,
Bro, Uncle Clay.
we need people like Brenton Awa to
Yes,
kick him out
bro.
and
Awa's
spread the truth.
gangster, bro.
Yeah.
How's he? He's
He
like, bro,
is a
if you went
gangster,
against
yeah.
one Hawaiian, you'd be hung back in the
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
And then you want to apologize? No.
Yeah, no, his speech
Just-
at the Capitol on opening day
yeah.
was
He feels like an
historic.
uncle, like.
He's the Hawaiian Martin Luther King.
Yeah. He reminds me of Kalakau. Okay.
Yeah. He's awesome.
He literally was scolding his elders.
Totally.
Like children, like, you know what I mean? Listen, boys, you know? And it's just, bro, we have to understand that people like you and I are more intellectually advanced than our leaders by a long distance, you know? Luckily, like Andrew, Topola, Brenton, they be putting in that work, and they're open to optimistic ideas, but their corporation, which is their position, is ran a certain way. They can't do a drastic positive thing because it will destroy and bankrupt their position as a senator. A senator is a corporation. Like we got to drill this into our heads. Like the healthcare thing I said, no one wants the cure to cancer because you're gonna fuck up the budget. Why do we want that? You're gonna mess up our budget. So evolution can't take place.
They want people to be sick.
Yeah. Why do I want the cure to cancer? We make $2.5 billion a day off of this chemo treatment. Why the hell would I want to lose that? That's the problem. And that carries over to every single industry, every political position, like the NHOs. Like how much Hawaiians got to get caught? Like the chief and the prosecutor, the Kealoas. Bro, how many prosecutors have been busted for mass levels of corruption? Like Gary Vonneferry, busted with pounds of meth, the one that charged Uncle Eddie Rothman and Dahui. He was caught bringing in the meth. Uncle Eddie guys and Dahui were licking the guy selling it. Right? And then only after the case, the guy gets busted.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you don't believe this stuff, I mean, just look back on the history of America.
But it's true.
How they fed drugs into black communities.
They just did that.
Right?
They just did that. Dick Cheney after the war.
Yeah.
That's what messed me up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the oxy train.
So if you don't believe our nation, our state, our government is corrupt, you know, you gotta look into these things.
It's just a fact.
Yeah.
You cannot benefit the people without destroying the corporation.
They know what they're doing. I mean, look at the overthrow. They knew it was illegal, and they said sorry.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
They spend their whole lives trying not to get caught, not serving us.
Yeah.
Bro, do you know?
They pay a fine and they keep doing it.
Like drug dealers, how often are they paranoid? They do everything they can to elude the police, right? In the Senate, in these positions of power and government, they're doing everything they can to elude their next door neighbor, which is the prosecutor, the office. And they get caught all the time. And like the legal department will go up and be like, hey, yo, you got to cut it out. You know what I'm saying? There is special treatment. But think of this. They get paid what? $75,000, Brendan said? He said he gets, bro, how the hell are you going to not be corrupt if you're not someone like Brenton with values?
Well, they increased their pay, and he's like, "Are they doing 64% more work?"
Yeah, bro.
So funny.
I personally would pay politicians $500,000 to $1 million per year if I had control of the budget. Because one thing's for sure, Hawaiians get lazy when they have money. You see what I'm saying? Imagine if they don't have to worry about what happens when they lose when they run out their term. If I was making $75,000 a year and working as much as that politician, they work harder than everybody, nonstop. They should be paid properly. Like they should be living comfortably, and they should be making clear decisions. You can't make a clear decision if you're not being paid enough money.
But you're saying if they're actually doing the work, if they
would be forced to,
morally correct. You know, they're not.
How are you going to be corrupt if you're getting paid $500,000? That's super.
So you're saying people are corrupt because they're not getting paid enough?
100%. Then that's the best excuse. That's the excuse they always use.
Yeah. So what's the deal with them increasing their pay by? I think it's 64%. And then Brenton says, are they doing 64% more work?
They just increased their pay.
They did it last year. They Augie T, Brenton, I think Andre, they all voted against it. But the politicians, they wanted to increase their pay. So I think it went up to like over six figures.
Like $100,000 a year?
It went from like, I don't know, 60 to 100,000 or something.
And these are decisions made off of them becoming older and wanting more money.
They voted themselves.
Well, let's see what happens.
We should.
Yeah.
But it's such a messed up.
I believe they should be paid more.
Some people, for example, if you're at a job and you're doing well, you get a raise.
Yeah.
If you're at a job, you're doing poorly, you get fired.
Well,
that's the problem with politicians is they can do a poor job and still get paid.
But the
and still get a
excuse is
raise.
they're not getting paid enough if they do a bad job. If they're corrupt,
Well,
the excuse is we're not being paid
shouldn't
enough.
shouldn't you earn it? You know, I believe you have to earn everything in life. I don't think
100%.
everything I got was earned. Nothing was given to me.
Being a politician is so hard to even get there in the first place.
I would never do it.
It's really hard. Honestly, we have to see. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So now that they've been paid more, let's see what happens.
So not everybody. It was a certain. I don't know how many people.
Did Brenton get paid more?
No. He said he had to move in with his family because he couldn't afford rent.
So why wouldn't he get paid more, but they do? That's messed up.
They denied the raise or something. I don't know if they denied it or if they voted against it. I don't know how it works, but I'm not.
Basically, there's no excuse if you're getting paid big bucks, right? And so it holds them to a standard.
Yeah, I think if you're doing the work and you're earning it, then take all the money. I think people should be compensated fairly.
Don't you think they
but
would
if
be
they're not
inclined
doing
to
it,
do
then
it?
I don't think they should be
100%.
getting that much money.
Don't you think they would be inclined to if they're being paid a lot?
I mean, like if I'm getting paid millions to do this podcast, I'm going to do this the best of my ability.
100%.
You know, and but like you said, maybe some people can get that money and get comfortable and get lax, and they're not putting in as much work because they already got paid. Why?
I learned that mistake on my movies. I pay my crew up front $15,000 for 3 days, $20,000 for 3 days, bro. They don't even want to work anymore after they get paid. You know?
Yeah, so maybe 50 up front, 50 after.
That's what I should have done.
Yeah, or like salary, like you get every month, and
I'm too nice. I want to stoke everybody out.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, they're like, when is this over?
Yeah, we gotta figure that out. But anyways, let's move on. Last thing on the Elite Atlas, because I had a lot of messages. They said, "Is this only a one-time thing?" No, this is up permanently at Restaurant Row in Kakako
every year.
Yeah, you can go check it out. It's super awesome. I already had people message me saying they're gonna go check it out. So yeah, if you're listening to this, you haven't checked it out, there is no rush to really check it out. It's gonna be there. Maybe you see Etienne working.
The next week I'll be over there.
Yeah.
If you guys have the negative comments, if you guys want to talk
to his face
in person, we can talk over there.
Yeah. Okay. Next question comes from Jamie Nanasi. This person says, "How do you balance the energy it takes to be a dad with the creative process?"
Hold on, I'm just doing my girly makeup. Does my face look good?
Your face looks great.
I like how I was sweating. Yeah.
Well, you have that little puffer jacket on. You look cozy.
Yeah, I know. Did it get hotter in here? I can feel AC.
Yeah, maybe. I know at one point it shut off, but I still feel the AC. Okay. How do you balance the energy it takes to be a dad with the creative process?
I include my daughter in the creative process.
Yeah. Tell them how you give credit to Max for doing the Elite Atlas.
Yeah.
Because some people are gonna hear, "Oh, this was done by my 2-year-old? Not even 2, 18 months? How old is she?
18 months.
18 months. Yeah. Okay. 18 months daughter. You're like, okay, you're crazy. But explain how that makes sense.
Jamie Kaiulani and Jay Park made me realize that thing where I was like, I want to have my daughter take credit for the show, and they're like, "Oh no, you shouldn't do that because it's illogical." And I'm like, "Oh, you're right," And I love being proven wrong, even though I think the idea is great. But what it is illogical. So I have her as the artist, but I'm the curator, which is the constructor and all that stuff, because she does want to learn about that. She does want to have that available to her generation and to herself. And so I do have her on set, and I do put up 2 images, and I'm like, pick one. And whether she can understand me or not, she'll reach for one. And whatever one she reaches towards is the one I'll use that we have.
Yeah, and then you do it colors. You were explaining it to us.
So I just include her in the creative process. Everyone thinks like having a kid will ruin your life. I remember everyone says that. Dude, when you think back on the time that you've spent that you have not had that kid, would you have ruined your life or would you have saved it? Because a lot of the times that time spent where it's supposedly ruined is the time that would have been the greatest moment to have that child, because it would have motivated you to just kill the game and not waste a decade of your life. Like, God, I've been wanting to have a kid my whole life because I know the purpose and the level of motivation that would come from her.
With how kolohe you sounded, I'm surprised you didn't have more kids growing up.
I know. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't.
Do you have secret kids we don't know about?
I don't think so. But I think now, 25 is when I wanted to start having one, but I always wanted to have one. But I wanted a boy. Mm-hmm. And then having a girl is way better.
Do you want more?
No, I
Oh,
just
you're
feel
good
it'd be unfair to her. I love her so much, and like
You don't
she's
want to
giving
split
me.
that love.
No, it's just not logical to me. I just need one.
Uh-huh.
I just like because that's how I was raised. I
Yeah.
just had one, right? But like she's so special, bro. Like she's the greatest thing to ever happen. And at any age, if I had her, she would be the greatest thing to ever happen. There's no ruining your life with a child.
That's
It is only
beautiful.
going to save you.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And that leads to my next question from Michele Halulu 33. This is my dad. He watched the episode and he said, I appreciated hearing his perspective
I
on
love
being
your
a
dad.
father. May we have more encouragement from you for dad/parents?
Yeah, I love your dad. He's so awesome. Okay, one more time. I love your dad. He's so awesome. How was life growing up with him?
I
Is he just
mean,
joyful?
it was good. Yeah, he came to all my sporting events, encouraged me to do all those things, recorded all my soccer games, my football games.
He seemed like the best dad.
Totally. I'm very blessed. I mean, he taught us Hawaiian. He only speaks Hawaiian to us. We wouldn't have the language in our family if it wasn't for him.
He reminds you of a Frank Among
Yeah.
who had a family.
Well, he's friends with Frank.
Yeah,
so.
best friends, bro.
Yeah.
They're just the same.
Yeah.
So he wants to know encouragement for other
Yeah, he just
fathers.
wants may we have more encouragement from you for dad/parents. I mean, because he sees how much you love your kid, and he just
I
wants.
feel
Yeah.
so many Hawaiians are so like first off their love and connection through the pregnancy to the baby mama doesn't usually survive, and if it does, it's met with adversity. And I feel so many Hawaiian men, in particular men, are always trying to make any kind with other girls during that time because the girl's mad, the guy's like whatever. I think that is the most selfish thing on earth. Once you have a kid, your feelings do not matter anymore. Your life and what you used to do does not matter anymore. It's the same thing with responsibility. If you have a responsibility, whatever the hell it used to be must now be that. And so have integrity and have responsibility and pride in the fact that you are a father and that God gave you the opportunity to be that, because there are so many people out there that will never have that opportunity or can't have that opportunity, and they can adopt, but there's really no comparison to one that's actually you. It's a clone. And so that kid for men is your inner child. Most men who are Hawaiians, that inner child inside of them is dead or they don't even know it exists. So you get to reconnect with the innocence that made you beautiful through that child. And my relationship with my daughter has made me like superior in a mentality where I don't need no woman to make me happy ever. My daughter is the only thing that matters to me with love. Like she'll love me more than any girl will. She'll be more loyal to me than any girl will. I'll be more proud of her than I would be proud of any girl. That's why I say I'm way more blessed that I had a girl than a boy. Like remove romantic and what is it called?
Intimacy.
Yeah. Remove that out of the picture. That's physical. That's worthless. How many times have people had sex and forget about it? And there's never a positive thing from that intimacy. It's either negative or it's just in the moment feels good. But that's not what makes love. It's just a drug, And so when you remove that out of it, the core of what men want in a woman is everything your daughter can give you as a person. So many men don't have that connection with their daughter or their son. That son can be a replacement of what you've always wanted from a friend. That's a guy.
Yeah.
Bro, like I still love my parents, especially my dad. And I haven't spoken to him in years because he got weird when my daughter was born. So imagine like you don't want to talk to me anymore because of a financial issue with helping my daughter when she was first born. Like you would choose money and not being able to give it to me and chalk it up to, I don't want to talk to you anymore than money. Like, and so you don't meet your own daughter. I mean your own granddaughter, right? So that's what happens when you live a life of not connecting with your child.
Yeah.
Right? Can you imagine like being able to just do that? I could never do that. So the encouragement is to not allow the special moments and that connection to be dwindled by chasing your own love and aspirations with external people. Your happiness needs to only come from within yourself. External happiness is a lie. External happiness is inevitably just waiting for death and depression. Nothing should cause you to be happy other than what you create, who you are, and what is you, which is your kids. So I have happiness from my creations. I have happiness because I love who I am from my accomplishments, creations, and the things I've done to be better and more generous than anyone I've met, financially or physically. And then my daughter is the number one thing that makes me happy. I created that. So I'm allowed to have that external happiness from it. The encouragement is that.
That's
Never
beautiful.
chase
Beautiful,
external
Etienne.
happiness. Yeah.
That's really good. Mahalo for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
Next question comes from the Haku_N_Haukea. This person says, can you share your story behind your name? What does it mean and who named you?
Okay, yeah. My mom got the name in Egypt when she was visiting the pyramids. And apparently she saw this beautiful woman with a bunch of kids in the tomb. And she was just really happy. And she said, I love you. And my mom heard the name Etienne or Aurelius, one of those two, because
Marcus Aurelius was one of the great
he's
emperors
Caesar. Caesar.
of like
And
Rome.
Aurelius means golden light. And so Aurelius is like it's a word that stems back to the beginning of time. It's also an identification for Lucifer, which is very interesting. Aurelius is what it's written in Latin in the original transcripts of the Bible. Venus. So back then, men really did women dirty in the context of the language. So like Venus is close to P, like a man's.
Oh, Venus, penis.
Yeah. So that star was the woman's star. It is the women's star, Venus, right? It's also the star, if you just think of a jet ski driver and a surfer, it tows the sun into daylight. If you see Venus, you know the sun's coming. You won't see it directly in the distance. It pulls the sun over the horizon. So Aurelius means the bringer of light. So Venus would be pulled and the sun is pulling, as Venus would pull the sun. So they would call Venus Lucifer, which means the bringer of light.
Wow.
Aurelius would be how you say that in Latin, golden light. And then I'm not positive on bringer, Lu Aurelius or La Aurelius. That's how you say it. And sorry, we're getting deep. And we don't want to talk about the devil. But I'm saying is, it's very, very weird how the world says things that are supposed to be light are evil, right? Like the definition of that is light. So the whole world associates the word of the female star to be evil, darkness. You see what I'm saying? So where's the word that says light without it being evil? You see what I'm saying? So my name.
So both have to exist.
Whoever did the language turned the word for light into the devil. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, because when you have the word light, you have the word devil. Those are two different things in our mind, two contrasting things. But I guess you're saying the same thing. So I guess
they basically took the word Lucifer, which means light, and turned it into the devil. And now there's a sentence in the Bible. This is where my name comes from, though. There's a sentence in the Bible that says, I think Solomon's speaking to King Nebuchadnezzar, and he says, "Oh, how sad it will be to see you fall like Lucifer through the night sky into the morning as you revel in your Satan." Like
Satan.
Satan was a behavior in Lebanese. It was a behavior of materialistic greed, lust. It was all sins in
so
one
interesting.
behavior.
I didn't know this.
So Pilikia would be Satan. And so that's where I feel that creation. Both things are said in the same sentence. You will fall like Lucifer as the sun rises, as you revel and bask in your Satan.
Wow.
That's where those came from. It's said 3 times in the Bible. Lucifer, and like Satan's mentioned twice.
Yeah.
I really believe that these metaphors are just our own self and our bad decisions and our bad behaviors. And the Hawaiians knew this stuff way before that. That's all they talk about.
Yeah.
That's what it's called being pono, aloha, la'akea. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my name derives from the first word of light. So Etienne is Latin for king. So it would be the king of golden light.
Wow.
And Trillo, which is weird, that's my father's last name. Trillo means the musical symphony of the goat. Isn't that wild?
The goat, greatest of all time.
The goat's trill was the first note ever created in which Dante and Orpheus both listened to the song played by the lyre. The lyre is an instrument. It's this thing. It's an instrument that's like a violin. And so they would pick the lyre and it would be called the goat's trill.
Oh, that's so cool.
So it's the musical. So my name is like the bringer of light and the bringer of light who plays the goat's trill.
Wow, that's so cool. That's a powerful name.
I know,
now
right?
I understand why you are the way you are. Name fulfillment.
That was deep. Sorry.
Some guy, I don't know. You have some haters on social media.
Yeah.
And I responded to one, and one guy was just like, I was just messing with him. Like, I actually like the stuff he says. I'm like, why you gotta do that? So on public stuff, like,
because they like my reaction.
yeah, I don't know what it is. But anyways, one guy messaged me like, yo, he's not even Hawaiian. He's just claiming to
I
be
saw that.
Hawaiian.
I wrote back to that.
And I'm like, well, one, I mean, I can't prove it, and that's only on your.
How do I have Hawaiian
certificate.
homelands?
But like, Hawaiian. I mean, just like I told him, do the math. I mean, your mom is Hawaiian.
Yeah.
She's pretty well known in like hula or
Spirit of Hula. She's the Don Ho show lead dancer.
Yeah, she has a book. I mean, it says she's Hawaiian. So I'm just like, if his mom is Hawaiian, that means he has to be Hawaiian.
I am Filipino too.
Yeah, but you also are. He's like, he's just Filipino. I'm just like,
and then we take it to Keanu Asai,
yeah.
and we go even deeper, where he's just like already wrong in what he's saying.
So it's just, I thought it was funny. So you are Hawaiian.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And but let's just take it to Keanu Asai.
Keanu Sai, Dr.
Keanu
Keanu Sai.
Asai, how he said the definitions. Native Stanford Dole is Native Hawaiian.
Oh, Kanaka Maoli.
Yeah. Kanaka Maoli. So like Kanaka Maoli is 100% Hawaiian. Kanaka Oiwi is mixed. Kanaka Hapa is mixed from a European descent. Kanaka Haole is just a human being with bad behavior. And Hawaiian is what you would identify if you're born and raised here. So to say you're a native Hawaiian is just saying you're born and raised here. So what he's proclaiming is already inaccurate.
Yeah, and he said you grew up in California.
What? Did he?
Here's what he messaged me. But I was just like, he just shared his whole entire
My birth certificate says
life
Wahiwa.
story. Yeah, I know it says, I looked it up too. So trust me, I'm good. I looked it up after he told me. And he said, you're born in Honolulu. Or, Oahu.
Yeah.
And then you shared your whole life story on the podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you fabricated that whole thing. But
it's pretty impossible.
But also there's articles saying like, you picked up your first camera at 10 years old.
Midweek,
You and your mom.
13 years
your
ago.
mom. I looked up your mom's LinkedIn. She said, you know, even like she was on the radio in Kaua'i for a while. And like,
Mililani Trask, everybody. She was
stuff.
a part of that whole movement.
Yeah, so I don't know. Is this
my family has Hawaiian homelands there till today.
Some people on social media is just, they gotta get a life.
But what does that do? What is that? If he is to succeed in his claim against me, why do Hawaiians want to disprove someone who's doing
another
great?
Hawaiian. I think I don't know what the name is, and I don't mean to like shout people. I mean, to expose people. But it's like Kanaka something.
I probably know him. He's probably a Kanaka the highest level.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which
but
I
respect.
Like,
why are you trying to bring other Hawaiians down? If you think there's a problem with somebody else, help them.
Yeah.
Help them. Don't hold your hand like this in a fist. Open it.
Yeah.
You can't hold hands when you make fists.
Yeah.
You can't give aloha when you're making fists.
Wouldn't you be excited?
If you're going to make a fist, open up.
Yeah.
Throw up the shaka. That's what people got to understand is why is it always Hawaiians versus Hawaiian?
You're not Hawaiian enough.
Even like the whole civil beat stuff. I know they cracked down on, our past podcast guests, the Kamahai and Tristan Kalama.
What did they say?
They were like, oh, they're violating fines, like they're not getting permits, whatever. I'm sure
permits
everybody
for what?
does that for their house. That's how they're able to build so quickly.
We shouldn't have to get permits.
Well, I know it
Hawaiians.
takes so long, so they're just paying the fines instead. But I'm just like, okay, even if that's true, and like maybe I don't know, I don't have the whole story. Maybe it's unsafe. Maybe that's not. Maybe they talked with the homeowners.
They make me get permits to film my movies.
Exactly. It's just I understand it, but like, why you gotta target these Hawaiians that like they're
'Cause they're
actually doing
doing
something.
good.
They have notoriety now. They have
Yeah.
popularity, and as soon as you get that popularity, people want to come and attack you.
Yeah, that's
And
what
that's what I didn't like. And I don't know. I didn't look into the situation too much, but like I just don't like that they're trying to like attack these Hawaiians.
it's
Like
disgusting.
you know how many people build home here? How many Chinese investors buy up land and
Yeah.
build high rises? All
Yeah.
these, you know,
Monster
these
homes.
monsters home. I'm just like, why not make an article about them and not this local family that's trying to
Yeah.
do good? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
that's giving free seminars to local families on how to afford living.
I didn't
here,
know
you
about that. That's really cool. They're teaching them how to jump the
Yeah,
system.
they do these free workshops and seminars and stuff. So
Hats
yeah.
off to them. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So
Anyone
I mean-
against us doing what we want to do can go screw themselves. I know the Civil Beat main writer. He's cool. He wrote some bad stuff about one of my best friends, and I called.
It
and I
could be
told him,
writers of Civil Beat. Too.
Yeah.
It could just be
well, this
like
was the main
freelance
guy.
Stuff, yeah.
It was about like a shooting and death. And I was like, hey, bro, you can't be publicizing that people are FBI informants, like that are still alive.
Yeah.
You know, and my friend was not. And that's how it painted him. Now, if you come from the life he lived, my friend killed 2 people, bro. You know what I mean? And it was self-defense, but he had been shot 9 times in this whole ordeal, 2 separate times. If the feds come to your house and ask you, why did you just kill 2 people at Hawaiian Joe's? And you say, because I had been shot 9 times prior.
Oh my gosh, I think I know this story.
Yeah. And he never said nothing.
This is on the news. Or
Yeah,
like,
And
my
Civil
friend
Beat.
told me about this.
Every time the anniversary comes up for their passings, they put my best friend on blast that I helped, come up into becoming an AD, assistant director in the filmmaking industry. He was Devin Haney's team captain. He was the greatest boxer to ever come to Hawaii.
Yes, this is the guy who was really good at boxing.
Yeah, it was one of my best friends.
I heard about this story.
But I called Civil Beat and I told him, hey, bro, like, do you want the smoke? Like, you're not allowed to do this to anybody. And I will target your organization with everything I have to discredit what you've just said, and it will be bad. And so then we had a very nice conversation, and now me and the guy are friends. And so he rewrote an article saying he was a prominent boxer, and, but this is the type of behavior when people are still alive in such a thing, and you call them an FBI informant for telling the FBI I had been shot 9 times and I had to protect myself. That doesn't make you a rat.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, that's crazy. And all these people want to come at him instead of being like, oh, my brother was shot 9 times. You know what I mean? For no reason.
Yeah.
For nothing. And God bless everybody involved. But the toxicity of the crabs in the barrel, Hawaiians will be fine.
Crabs in the bucket.
Yeah, in the
that
bucket.
barrel works too, actually.
It's like this. They want you to be down here.
Yeah.
If you are not successful, that's okay. If you start to rise, oh, screw him. He's too Hollywood.
Oh, Hollywood Hawaiian.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah, I am Hollywood. You
Yeah,
know,
I've heard that term
I
before.
contribute to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to make Hollywood something that we can access here in our voice, because I don't care. I wrote big tangents on the comments explaining details of why and how. And he's high because he's writing long comments. No. I care. And I'm explaining how we're going to do it. I don't care what anyone says. Fix the government all you want. If we are not loved by the world through our stories, our digital mo'olelo, and our perceiving, the way we're perceived, the world must love us for us to have what we want. We're a part of a global community, and the government ain't doing nothing unless we have the support of the world. The only way we have that is through our stories, our movies, our content, our creation. And through that, these movies will paint a picture of Hawaiians that must be respectful, uphold the highest values of love and courtesy. And negativity is pilikea, heva. I want Hawaii to be a place where if you're negative, you're a just heva.
Get out.
Pilikea. Like anybody negative about positivity.
Yeah.
I'm negative about negative things, like traffic.
I know that was a great metaphor. I thought. Okay, last question comes from Slybando95. This person says, would you be willing to take someone as his apprentice and teach what he knows, or use said apprentice for filming?
Yeah, that's what the echo's about. Once we finish stage 1 with these murals everywhere, and the world has access to the literal versions of our culture, and is enamored and adores the beauty of our kings and our queens and these great stories, I'm literally having to change the perception of Hawaiian culture. I'm literally creating Hawaiian culture to be a fad through the Elites Atlas, through these big accounts we've gotten to put the kings throughout the city. So the generations in power and everybody wants for our stories to be told because they see the benefits of just pictures going up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Our ancestors, if they were here right now, anyone that says it's heva to perpetuate or tell the stories of our ancestors would be most likely put to death because that is killing their legacy. That is killing everything they fought for. That is killing us as a culture and a history.
I don't know if I agree with that, but
I respect that.
you
Wait, agree with what I said?
Oh no, about the other people saying that it's wrong to do this stuff.
Yeah.
Because you cried on the opening of this stuff because you love our culture so much, and you were so proud of these murals that you put up. It just shows your passion and your heart.
I couldn't even talk.
And you didn't get paid for this. You didn't. You did this by yourself. I saw your stories for about a week of you there. I think you lived there for about a week. Jane was saying she slept there on the third night.
Yeah.
She's
the baby was in the stroller just chilling, just putting in work. Like,
it's crazy.
How much money do these NHOs and these organizations of Hawaiian culture, billions of dollars have been given in my lifetime. Hawaiians shouldn't be suffering at all with the amount of money the federal government has given us. And the federal government is doing a solid. Here's why don't we have an NHO?
Yeah.
That's entitled millions. And at the end of the day, for these NHOs to come against me and make sponsors pull out, it's just $10,000. You get your name on the archive for 5 years, and your name is on the gallery, and it travels with it, and you get to present that story of the monarch. I'm targeting the names of these foundations are named after these monarchs, and they don't care.
Yeah.
I'm like, how
What is that?
did you hear that? Listen.
Is that your alarm?
Listen. It says, I am so grateful. It's 4:47 p.m.
What does that mean? You just set an alarm?
Yeah, it just says be grateful for being alive at 4:47.
Okay, we're all grateful at 4:47 p.m. on January.
How can you have an organization with the name of a monarch and not support the first ever public display of those monarchs? How?
Yeah.
You're being paid to do that. I don't care. It's not me, bro. It's not about me. It's your elite. If your land was given to you by these elites, if your organization is financed because it has an elite's name, I don't care what your opinion is of me or anything. If you do not support the first ever public display of who they are and contribute to building their archive, which we can scan, or help me in any way or form, how would your elite feel? Is there one thing that your elite would agree with you on?
Yeah. How would they feel about this modern city?
How are you gonna have a
lyrics.
foundation with their name and not have your name on that gallery?
Yeah.
And that gallery's gonna grow.
Totally. It's gonna be
all
awesome.
over the city.
The response was amazing.
It's going all over the city.
Yeah. So
All over the city.
okay, so before we take a quick I gotta take a shishi break. So I'm the one who has to step out for a second.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna get into the Maui stuff. But just to wrap up what this last guy asked, are you open to taking apprentices? How do people get involved?
Get to where we got? Yes.
How do
That's
people
what the
help
echo's
you? How do they get involved if they love what you're doing?
Everything we just tangent on, that was bad. That was a bad tangent. We just went a whole different direction. The point of what I'm saying is, the point of my organization is to bring on apprentices so they can learn as we create these installations.
Okay, so how do they get in touch with you?
Just email echoh, ECOH.ALOHA @gmail.com and just submit like a resume of what you've passioned. You don't have to have accomplishments. What's your passion and what you want to learn, and if you want to be a part of these things. And like with our foundation, we will teach you everything you need to know in a very, very short period of time. And there's always the opportunity for a job to manifest out of it. But in that short period of time, you're gonna learn, pay your dues, be on an internship of some form, and see if this life is for you. Because this isn't easy. This shit is as hard as it gets. Making a feature film, you really see who a person is on those, Kai Lenny's taking naps. The guy who has unlimited amounts of energy. My best friend, Joey Coheen, naps, unlimited amount of energy. It's a different level of psychological taxation. So I would love to mentor and apprentice anybody that wants to be a part of this mission and grow it into a massive Ohana system. So just email the email.
Yeah, or DM you, I guess.
If you love your
Just take a
culture,
DM.
just bring it. And it would take all ideas and everything. And I care a lot about people. So like I always want to make sure they're okay.
Yeah.
Never take advantage of them and hope that they're getting everything they can get. And I want people to capitalize off the opportunities. I want them to be able to achieve more outside of it, but without being pilikia about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, go do what he says. I gotta go shishi. I'll be right back.
With 0 alcohol, 0 carbs, and 0 calories. Kaua'i brings aloha in every bubble.
All right, we're back from a quick shishi break. Much needed. Shout out to our sponsor, Kaua'i Hop Water. And going back to what you said on the last episode about the Kaua'i Hop Water, it is the Alaskan bird that you mentioned.
Yeah, I love those birds.
Yeah.
They're so I want to keep one. Like
as a pet.
no nene kuslala.
Yeah. No.
I laughed so hard
That was
when I
funny.
saw that.
I would love it to have like a monkey.
You should have
as a pet
posted
or
that
something.
as one of the stories.
Yeah, you would have even more haters if that was the case. All right, so enough messing around.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. This is what people came here for. We left them on a huge cliffhanger last episode. You're right about to get into the Maui stuff. I guess you have some theories, or I don't know, whatever you want to call. You think you know what really happened with the Maui wildfires.
Like the only practical explanation.
Yeah, and you like did a lot of research. This is not like something you heard anywhere. You like
Everything.
went on your own to like find information.
I learned everything on Hawaii.gov.
So what did you learn? Tell us.
Okay.
Educate us.
The issue stems back, and it starts over 130 years ago. It starts here in Hawaii. Like electricity was born here, just like Aloha, just like everything. So many people don't know that the first ever electricity company that could distribute electricity, monetize it, and have it paid for was created by King Kalakaua and Claus J. Spreckles. People don't understand that sugarcane factories are historic monuments and cannot be torn down because they are a part of the birth of electricity generation and distribution, not because they're a sugarcane facility. There could be secret, things hidden within them that were altered a certain way for electricity function. And the way that they were able to generate electricity was from the water diversion techniques that they developed, which created all water diversion techniques and hydroelectric generation globally. The Hoover Dam was inspired by what King Kalakaua did. Every dam created was inspired by the EMI, the East Maui Watershed, which is a joint collaboration between like the bishops, First Hawaiian Bank, Kalakaua, everybody. It was good intentions at first. And I can't read this anywhere, but when you think about Game of Thrones level checkmate, if the Hawaiians are being overran by foreign interests, the only way to control economy growth and land control would be to control the water, right? That's the only way. And I feel they spent a lot of time doing that, especially during the time of the overthrow until we became a state, which was like 60 years. If Hawaiians control the water, they can control the land. And the way that water is controlled is very interesting because so many entities own fractions of the trail the Vai goes on. There's someone that owns the hydroelectric generator that pumps the ground and sucks the water out, which was installed super long time ago, and different variations are reinstalled by helicopters. Then there's the introducing of Chinese engineers that Kalakaua saw during his trip to the Great Wall of China. Imagine seeing the Great Wall. The Great Wall of China is 12,000 miles long. That's like California to New York and back, and then some more. How the hell did they build that wall? That I don't know. But imagine our king seeing that. Who built this and where can I find some people? Because our king knew that water control, diversion is the way of life. The Aupua systems, like that is the first form of water diversion. So he brings the Chinese back here. They bring Chinese, they start building Chinese tunnels. Well, these things are miles, 60, 50 miles into the mountains. They come from the source of the water. Like these Chinese went hard. Like you can find them deep, 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 deep up Mauka and Kaua'i. There's Chinese tunnels, carved Chinese lettering from a century ago. Mm-hmm. Like the innovation that our King Kalakaua saw was so vast. People write him off to he had a spending problem. No, he has my problem. My visions exceed my budget, right? And he is responsible for creating electricity. Electricity
Or bringing
generation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And distribution. We can control this flow and give it to you. And the reason why the Iolani Palace was the first palace to be lit is because Kalakaua, when he came back from his trip around the world, I know this in my heart, in my Hawaiian DNA, that trip around the world was to light the world because he already had his interaction with Edison prior to that. Edison gave him a box with a light bulb on it. If you spun the box like Jack in the Box like this, it would light the bulb. So Kalakaua's ticket to go meeting the Emperor of China, the Emperor of Japan, standing at the front of Egypt pyramids, and just having this clout to go meet this king. People were enamored by our king. They respected him so much. His navy with 150 Royal Hawaiian Guard soldiers. He was just so enamored. But why? Not because he's just a Hawaiian king. He had something, and he had that light bulb. The whole world had never seen a light bulb before. Can you imagine pulling up to the shores and saying, "I have the future"?
It's magic.
And so that he gave everyone the consciousness, and in the process, he found a way to generate it. Because Kalakaua was a 32-degree Freemason, highest Grand Master level you can fathom. Kalakaua's genes, according to the Hālina'au school of mystery, which would be sorcery, hula, botany, it says a Solomon's Temple abbreviation. The pillars and the cornerstone were laid. The foundation was sealed with pili grass on top. The temple of science and the chiefs was now born from the mystic lineage and bloodline dating back 925 chiefly generations to the beginning of the time of the Kumalipu. Kane Kalakaua, chief number 1. 9 quadrillion years to the creation of the earth. It says it looks like 9 trillion, but it's quadrillion to the creation of the earth, the time of the Kapo Mano Mano. Do you know what velo is? W-E-L-O?
Like Kavelo Kala, like the...
It says during the time of velo,
Oh.
V-E-L-O, and lai lai. I don't know what these words are. This is this is Hawaiian Latin fuses that are words I've never heard of, but Kalakaua wrote it. So this school of the chiefs is about the creation of electricity. How do we manage this creation of this God power? And it was created through the sorcery. The hula was a straight up sorcery. It's so crazy. Kalakaua would be dancing all night, just casting spells. It was so beautiful, bro. And so this electricity and what happened in Lāhainā, all of these things start with Kalakaua, start with the fall of Hawaii. Hawaii owned the IP of electricity. Hawaiian Electric very well might be the first electric company ever created. I don't know exactly, but Kalakaua did create the first distribution of it. You can go look in the Nu'uanu stream today at the brackets that still remain of what they created to funnel the water to power the palace and the streetlights. Imagine if Hawaii owned the IP to electricity generation. You own the IP to water diversion, hydroelectric generation, and you own the IP to monetizing these things. They did. So America didn't care about this as a military location until far later, into World War II, when they martial lawed it. You see, if they cared, they would have martial lawed us a long time ago, right? They realized the strategicness. America during the time, I spoke to a lot of archivists, they were very racist about Hawaii. They didn't want Hawaii at all. America wanted nothing to do with us. That's why it took 60 years. There were just a few people in power, like we have now, that wanted their sugarcane businesses to thrive. And through their power and money and influence, they remained in that situation of the Republic and continued forward what Kalakaua had built. And that's that. But they did have the license and the IP to this technology. That's why Edison came over here, because he was like, wait, what? Let me try it. Let me install it. Let me see if it works. And it worked. So a lot of Hawaiians gotta understand, you're a part of that, right? And a lot of the higher ups know that. All the big time people know that. And as we go through the century, we see time and time again, Hawaii is a place of innovation in the field of that electricity. And this goes up really high. And, a lot of people are very concerned about this information I'm about to tell you. And honestly,
Who are the people that are concerned?
what's that?
Sorry, I'm drinking. Who are the people that are concerned? Like people
Just
who,
regular people who know nothing about who they're even concerned about.
Or the people who might be at fault could be concerned.
I never spoke to anyone that would be at fault. I do, over time, over the last year since I figured it out, I had all my theories of who to blame. But at the end of the day, I don't think anyone's responsible other than the people who have control over the one thing that needs to be done, which is the the government state of Hawaii, particularly the upper cabinet of the governor's office, which is about saving the budget, right? The budget has been asked for by everybody, by the people who control the generation of the power, by the people who install the power poles, by everybody. They've asked for this budget for, I think it's 195 million to reinstall poles and all that. So now we'll get into what happened on the day of that fire through my research into purely Hawaii.gov and the history of electricity that I just told you, from them trying to carry on that legacy without Kalakaua, without Thomas Edison, right? No one's Thomas Edison today. And so innovation can't be taking place. So we'll start with this fact. Lāhainā is a census-designated electricity test zone for the proper execution, recreation, and monetization of photovoltaic generation of electricity. Photovoltaic is solar panels. Hydroelectric generation is water diversion, which there is tons of up in those mountains. I satellite Google map that whole place, or Google, the proper satellite, the highest subscription you can find. Over time, I found about 300 private reservoirs just in the 5 miles of Lāhainā's area. These water diversions, there is a entity that pumps it, okay? And they just own the aquifer. Then as the land goes on, it's state land, leased by other entities who control the diversions of the flow. The waterfalls in West Lāhainā are all fake. The waterfalls that fall are diverted to fall there. And when they fall, they go right into the golf course, right into the rich neighborhood, everywhere except for Lāhainā. So the Kahoma stream is dry. It's channelized, and there is this cement channel with a little stream of water running through it. Lāhainā is an aquifer. So I don't know this exactly, but there is a very strong possibility that cement channelization is also something to do with an underground generation of power. I don't know. That's something I don't know.
I heard back in the day when after all this happened that it used to be a wetland. Lahaina used to be a wetland.
Yeah, because of the Kahoma stream.
Yeah, and then it just dried up because of what
the water diversion. Mm-hmm. They sent the water to other places. Yeah. So
why though? Did it ever
for agriculture? Why? So the Kahoma stream, the Kahoma hydraulic unit, which is the pump that sucks the water out of the Kahoma aquifer. That water used to flow down that thing and be a forever waterfall because the water out of the Kahoma stream, the Kahoma aquifer, is the second wettest place on earth. So when you got Josh Green talking about climate change, the droughts, bro, this is what I can't stand about the government, bro. You guys are lying to us. There is no such thing as a drought in Maui. It's called an agricultural drought, meaning the systems that control the diversion of the water or the pumping or the water pumps cannot fulfill the demand of the water needed. Agricultural drought. Lāhainā Mountains, where the Kahoma aquifer is the second wettest place on earth next to Waialeale. Last year alone, there was around 460 inches of rain. In the mountains that they are saying there is a drought and climate change is affecting everything. There is no climate change. There is no drought. There is simply water diversion.
And where are you getting this information?
Kaua'i.gov.
It's all there.
Yeah, the reports on everything. Who owns the diversions? Who pumps the water? And honestly, I don't care who owns those things. I care about who controls them. And who controls them unfortunately, is our government. Is not even the feds, our state. The feds are pissed off about their management of it. So it just goes to this fact. That's what the problem with the water is. It's not West Maui Land Company. It's not who owns the water pumping. It's not nothing. The state of Hawaii has power to fix it immediately.
So
the land between the town and the aquifer is owned by the state.
So in your mind, were the Lāhainā wildfires intentional?
No.
It was an accident that could have been prevented.
Yeah, but they had over 10 times to learn. Since 2016, when the bill, the renewable green bill or whatever the hell that thing is, to go completely dependent on, what is it called?
Solar?
Renewable energies.
Oh, okay.
So since 2016, to go completely, since 2016, to go completely dependent on renewable energies, it would take photovoltaic, which is solar, hydroelectric, which is wave water and water diversion power, Leonardo da Vinci spinning the wheel, the first ever generation of electricity that Kalakaua created, wind turbine, which are those big-ass windmills, and then biomass, which is using biometrics to fund energy via steam and power generation of plastic and crap like that. So for the first time in Hawaii's history, we are somehow 2 years ahead of our goal. When have we been 2 years ahead of anything, right? So that just already is weird. When you look at the documents in Hawaii.gov, the Maalaia subdivision was one of the last. Maalaia is the subdivision that powers Lāhainā, is one of the last power plants to have gas generators. The Mitsubishi ones they have are from 1970, and they said they have a year and a half of parts left. The green bill thing, the renewable energy bill, does not allow them to get new parts financed by the government or even by their own Hawaiian Electric. They're not allowed to fix or order new generators. They have to hit the mark and be renewable. Indefinite, right? So you have a year and a half of parts left. You're legislatively not allowed to buy anything else, nor replace those generators. You need to figure it out and make it renewable. So what does that cause? It's forced to do something, right? So we'll take it to here now. Now that you know the elements of the water diversion, the water diversion is diverted to agricultural areas such as the golf course, such as the rich communities, such as the coffee farms. The waterfalls in Lāhainā are fake. They are pumped there by tunnels built by the Chinese that Kalakaua brought here a long time ago. The biggest reason Lāhainā is dry is because they've completely stopped the flow of water through the Kahoma stream. And there's only one little stream of water that goes through there, and it goes to our Lo'i field, which was being argued about on the news, right? They wanted to take that water, and they were like, no, you have to ask the Hawaiians. And then that caused an uproar. But that really was a water grab. Or was it something for us to trigger our attention towards something? I don't know. But
a diversion.
Yeah. All I know is that water goes to us, whatever stream is left there. All I know is that they killed the entire O'opu population, the entire Vaivi population, the entire native prawns population. The DLNR and the EMI, East Maui Watershed Project, was owned by Alexander Baldwin, who was a very good guy, by the way. Original Alexander Baldwin was one of the biggest advocates for Hawaiians ever. Like, he really helped. He got the nation back when England took control of it because violence was being permitted on us and we didn't know what to do with our land. He was one of the owners of that thing. They sold it to a Canadian company. And when I read the bill of sale, it was basically like, here, but we still control it. So a Canadian company owns the EMI, but they keep controlling it. The problems with these lineal descendants of Alexander Baldwin are the descendants. They don't know their culture. They don't care. They just want money. The problems we face are the new generations who lost their way. The generations that attend certain private schools that don't teach them about Hawaiian culture, but more teach them about what Hawaiians should be in a religious structure, right? Our religion, our God is the land. If you ain't respecting that, then you're not Hawaiian. Right? And so when we see individuals greenlighting really bad development things, it's because they don't have any history in their mind about what their culture represents. How are they supposed to have aloha if they don't know anything about the culture? I've spoken to so many of these politicians, so many of these people in power. When I tell them our stories, they cry. They ask, why were we not taught this in our school? That's for all, whatever schools they went to that were Native Hawaiian strictly. And I say, I don't know. Why were you not given the opportunity to learn your own culture at a school but you learned it, right? What's your school called?
Ke kula o Navahio Kalani o Pu'u.
Yeah. And I honestly believe that these schools, just like Princess Ruth's school for the chiefs, that was created to teach these special bloodlines how to become leaders. The schools that have been created for Hawaiians now were created by the Big Five. And the Big Five created them to pull back the relentless passion for our land, to create generations that would be more lenient to change. That is 100% fact. You know what I'm saying? And so, in the end of the day, knowing the history will know that we can change things. But if you don't teach it, you'll never know how to change it. But I know how to change it. And I'm not here to throw anyone under the bus. I'm here to shed light on why things are happening. And the number one reason is because Hawaiians in power do not know their own culture. That's why they're afraid for our elites to go up. Because if our elites go up and people start to understand what they've done and who they are, they will begin to know more than the people in power.
It's like they almost want us to stay ignorant to our history.
Because they don't know it yet.
So
We learn at their
their
pace.
ignorance which is causing our ignorance.
Yes, it's at their pace.
Yeah.
When they feel like learning enough, then we can learn. But until then,
So they're like, we don't want you to know more than us.
yes,
So you can't learn.
100%. That's a fact. Whether they know it or not, that's what's happening. And that's why there's less speaking Olelo people than in the history of mankind.
Well, now there's
Yeah.
there's more since when it almost died out.
When?
Since they reinstated it in the 70s and the schools in the 80s and stuff like that.
Oh, because it was like barely.
It got to a point where it was about maybe 2,000 native speakers, and now there's probably like 20,000 native speakers. I don't know about
In the
native
last
speakers
year?
or people that
Fluent
speak Hawaiian.
Olelo, there's only like a couple thousand that speak pure.
No, there's
Yeah?
more than that. But people who are native Hawaiian.
Oh, okay.
It's a smaller demographic.
Yeah.
But people who speak Hawaiian, there's probably about 20,000.
Okay, great. Okay.
People who are not native,
Still
included.
10,000 before we go extinct.
It was. I think it got down. If I remember, it got down to about 2,000 native speakers. This was probably in the before the 70s or in the 70s.
After the Hawaiian Homelands Bill.
And then when they created the Hawaiian language preschools, that's when it started to increase.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So I'm in
Are we
the
talking
second decade.
pure speaking? Pure speaking?
Are you talking about like fluent speakers?
Yeah, fluent.
Okay, but not pure blooded.
No, like pure
Yeah.
Olelo, like
Fluent
speaking,
speakers. Yeah. I mean,
cool.
I would. That's up to the person that if they want to say they are fluent in a language. I don't even say I'm fluent in like certain languages that I've learned.
Do you think you're fluent in Olelo? Like,
Oh yeah, I mean that's easy. It's my
Yeah.
first language. Like,
okay, that's perfect.
I could. I don't need.
How many of them
it
are?
every day.
How many of you are there?
Now, I mean, with the kids and the new generations coming up, I would safely say about 20,000.
Oh, that's good. That's cool. That's still 10,000 less than we were extinct 130 years ago.
Yeah.
And there's 650,000 Hawaiians.
Yeah.
There's only 30,000 back then.
Well, yeah, if we're going by
Yeah.
blood, like, are you Hawaiian? Do you know the language? There's not a lot. Because there's a lot of people who aren't Hawaiian learning the Hawaiian language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So when there's 30,000 alive, 30,000 spoke. Today there's 650,000 and
Maybe
20,000 speak.
Which I don't know the percentage
But that's
of that.
crazy
but let's say
ratio. That's
it's
terrible.
Under 10%.
It's terrible.
It's under 5%.
Yeah. And so it's a terrible ratio under whose leadership, right? The generation
yeah.
that leads us that's been in power since like literally 1980.
Yeah.
Same thing. So they started off good. They started off ambitious, and then they got stuck in their corporational ways. It's the very thing that led us to Lāhainā happening.
Yeah.
And not just Lāhainā, Palisades too.
Well, I would say all the good things that has happened with Hawaiian culture and Hawaiian language are from small groups that created a movement.
Yeah, like Hanani and Mililani. Bumpy.
Yeah. And then, Pila Wilson,
Yeah.
Kaunoi Kamana, Kiki Kaua'i, Larry Kimura.
George Helm guys.
All of them.
Yeah.
Well, not even, this is just with the language, not the sovereignty movement.
The foremost authority is German.
Yeah. And then, I mean, there's even, I'm trying to get him on the podcast. Oh my gosh, why can't I think of his name?
German?
No, dang it, I don't know why I can't think. I'm trying to get him on the podcast. Anyway, this British guy that speaks Hawaiian. I don't know why I'm blanking.
Is that the
on his
one who
name.
has the son, Kaliki?
I don't know.
Is he the authority?
No.
Okay,
This is
okay.
just a teacher. And
Uh-huh.
yeah. Anyways, I'm trying to get him on the podcast. February is Hawaiian language month, so I'm trying to get some Hawaiian language speakers.
I'll get that job.
Anyways,
Yeah.
so going back to the whole Lāhainā stuff. So
This happens because,
so everything that has happened
this happens because of the lack of education.
They knew what was going on. That, for example, let's compare
all
to the
know.
to the Palisade fires. Okay, that happened a couple weeks ago. It's still going on. I don't know if it's gonna stop. Like, I don't know if they can control it. I see clips from Joe Rogan that said he was saying that he's talking to this firefighter, and they're saying if they don't do anything, like, it's just gonna take the perfect storm, high winds, and there's gonna be basically what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And they predicted that months ago.
Yeah.
You know?
But they don't say what causes it.
Yeah, but
Every fire.
But they
is
know
caused,
that if they don't change anything, this is gonna happen.
Oh yeah, taking it to the green bill.
Yeah.
Okay,
So you're saying our government knew if they didn't do anything, if they didn't divert water, if they didn't fix these photovoltaic
There's
energy
just one
stuff,
thing they have to fix.
but they knew if they didn't fix that,
It can happen.
it
100%. 100%. They don't know what can happen, like the extent, but they saw clearly what happened.
they just so they didn't. They probably weren't expecting
How many fires happened in
that to
Lāhainā
happen.
until that one? Since 2016, there has been a fire twice the size of the Lāhainā one in the mountains. Every year they decided to go to renewable energy. Every year except for COVID. COVID healed the land. I have satellite imagery of it. It is more clear and more green than I've ever seen Lāhainā in over 50 years. All the imaging of the satellites that you can see all the way to the 1970s, Lāhainā is more green in 2020 than it has ever been since like literally old Hawaii, because the agriculture stopped and everyone stopped for a second. There was no fire either, not one. But since 2016 till now, there is a fire every year. 2018, it burned houses. Ever since the renewable energy bill went into play. And now the ignition sites of these fires, you can find them all in the satellite imaging. And it's all boils down to some piece of shit pole that gets blown over, because no one can maintain these poles up Mauka. How are you going to get up there? Property after property after property is owned by different people, right? It's the laws, and it's just the system is so bad. Like, you see all these articles about the firefighters fighting these mountain fires. They were caused because the firefighter couldn't get in to put it out, right? But you only have a small window, because once that pole falls, it's a domino effect. So in the mountains, you ever notice the fires go out at night? The fires are always put out at night, right?
How? Just because it's cooler?
The sun stops shining on the solar panels, powering the energy going through them. So those telephone poles in the mountains are transferring energy from the solar fields to the grid inversion substations. So like, you either have a substation or you have a power plant. In Lahaina's case, it was Maui. Maui is over 15 miles away from Lāhainā. There's a transmission line, a big, thick energy line that transfuses that Lāhainā Luna solar farm up there. It sends the energy, which is direct current, 3 megawatts, which is 3,000 homes, in that transmission line all the way to the Malaya subdivision. The Malaya subdivision inverts it to AC, because that's direct current, which is a million volts. AC is 500,000. So it goes to the Malaya, inverts it, and it sends it back. All the energy included in that trip to Malaya is also all the homes with solar panels in Lāhainā. Homes, when you look at a neighborhood and it's covered in solar panels, you're looking at a solar farm. All that energy doesn't go to your house. It goes to the transmission line, sends it to the substation that is the power plant, inverts it to AC, and sends it back to you. So for Lahaina's power to take place, the energy must go to Malaya and it must come back. Now, in the case of the fire, Hawaiian Electric said, we caused the first fire, but not the second. Okay, when people say things on the news and in the newspaper, they're submitting it for the record as if it's a court litigation. They also said that the system that protects the homes and isolates the problem where the fault has happened, the arc was either was turned off or was operational. I'm not too sure, but that is what led me to find out how it could have taken place to why Lāhainā community was untouched and the other divisions beneath it were burnt to the ground. So at 6 p.m. or 6 a.m., the Hawaiian films the fire taking place, and there's like cords blowing out electricity, and it's got white smoke. Understand, white smoke is electric fire. Black is wood. Lahaina is pure white. The whole thing is white smoke. So the guy, oh, fire over here, called the fire department. Does that look like a normal fire to you? The ground is steaming. There's electric fire and smoke coming out of the ground. There's no flames. There's just a wire spraying electricity everywhere. That's called an arc. It's arcing because a pole that is directly next to the substation that does this. It's a circuit, right? The pole next to it, which is responsible for the solar farm behind it. Solar farm generates energy, sends it to the substation. Substation prepares it for the transmission line, sends it to Maui. Maui sends it back to the Lāhainā substation. The pole right next to that thing fell, sending an arc both directions, down and to that substation. That substation has something called an inverter. The inverter helps to invert the power or transmutes the power. I don't have the exact details, but there is a system in place there that helps aid an inverter of some sort, getting the inverter the electricity or making sure it has a breaker to stop it. Solar farms can't be turned off. They have to be taken away through their connection to the grid. So when that pole fell, there's something, have you ever noticed when the lights go off, they go on 30 seconds later and they turn off? A few attempts, like your power will go out. When your power goes out, count to 30. It will go on for 5 seconds, then shut down again. If your area is where that pole fell, your electricity is not going on. But everyone else outside of your area, your electricity will go back to normal. That is a relay. Because if someone's looking for where the pole fell, they'll notice that up there is dark. That's where the pole fell. That's a relay system that was created a couple decades ago. So that relay system consists of that substation. So if the pole falls down in Lāhainā, no power will go to Lāhainā. Okay? Notice how at exactly 6 hours later, exactly, they see another fire happen up there. We didn't cause the second one. What happens is that the energy from the solar farm, no one's stopping it. Over 80 poles have fallen down. The Lāhainā transmission line, the Maui, is effectively been cut off. They said that. It's shut down. So how are the lights on in Lāhainā? How is there power? How are transformers blowing up? There's no power. The one by the airport is not completed yet. So the only power that can come into Lāhainā has to be from the Maui subdivision, but it's shut down. The Maui power plant is a part of the Alexander Baldwin contract to sell the EMI. They say in the contract, we are asking to reserve a piece of land to create the Maui power plant. It's wild. It's all from the document of the sale. That Maui power plant is responsible for all of West Maui's power. If the power plant has been shut down, where is the power? Where can power come from? The only place it comes from is the solar farm, which was created by Kaua'i Energy in the mainland, who also controls it. How are they going to control that solar farm if it's arced its systems from the pole next to it falling down? It fried everything. You need a Wi-Fi connection to turn it off. So California is completely paralyzed from disabling this generator of 3,000 homes. So at exactly, 3 when the fire started? It was 6 hours from 6 in the morning. Every 3 hours, the relay will attempt to go on again. If no one's tending to it, then no one can stop it from doing it. If it's been arced and the systems have received an arc, the whole thing is scrambled, right? So a grid operates at 60 hertz. 60 hertz is the frequency that allows these lights to be on right now. If it shifts to 61, electric fires can happen. Overheating can happen. Transformers can explode, and things could just completely get fried. 1 hertz. And that's what takes place when a pole falls. An arc disrupts the hertz. It's such a delicate thing. Now, when you have a 3,000 home generation solar farm created by a mainland company that allows us to believe that, oh, it's okay, let's just go put it through an inverter and we'll give we'll cut the 1 million volts into 500,000 volts and feed it into this poor community down here. And we'll use them as a census-designated experimental test zone to master photovoltaic energy. This isn't our doing. This isn't the private corporations that own these things. No, it's the state. Guys like Josh Green. he comes on the video. It was, climate change. That police officer, climate change, lying sacks of shit. They know exactly what happened. That mayor in Maui had no idea what the hell was going on. That poor man had no idea that could have happened because they leave even their own in the dark. But Josh Green sure had an answer. You know what I'm saying? Because it was his bill. And so when you have the Malaya subdivision cut off, and you have 3,000 homes generating energy from a 1 million volt photovoltaic system that has a messed up substation, at some point the relay is going to get stuck. And that's what happened. Right exactly at the mark that the relay should have tripped. Now you have 3,000 megawatts, or 3,000 megawatts. Yeah, 3,000 megawatts of energy. I'm sorry. Now you have 3 megawatts of energy that is creating 3,000 homes of energy to be lit, pouring into a grid that is made to be AC alternating current. This is direct current, 1 million volts. So when you put direct current into an AC grid, it's like a nuclear bomb is going to go off. Every single thing is going to light on fire. The wires under the ground are going to immediately turn white hot, and the ground's going to start melting the tires of the cars. The ground's going to start heating up and lighting on fire. The first instance of the fire taking place is on NBC News. They're talking about the woman who had died, who was her sister, and they were putting away their stuff because there was a windstorm coming. No fire, putting their stuff away. All of a sudden they hear, help, help, help. They look over. They see this woman screaming, the ground's lighting on fire. The ground's lighting on fire. They go over there. They put the fire out. Another one pops up. The grass, the ground of her home is beginning to spark up flames because the DC current is now affecting the 60 hertz frequency of the grid. And anyone near the Lāhainā Luna subdivision, which was not affected, nothing in Lāhainā Luna burned because the relay shuts that off. It sends all the power over the road. I have a video of the fire starting on the side of the road and just going straight to the first pole in a straight, perfect line. I have the transmission line lighting on fire perfectly straight to the first pole. And the first pole just goes, and this pure white pole just ignites like a candle. And next thing you know, it's just a hollow pole hanging from wires. The next one, and then when it does that, you notice that all the metal roofs were lighting on fire. How are steel cement buildings melting to the ground in the Palisades and in Lāhainā? How are the Front Street cement building bent the opposite direction of the wind? Anything that has a line to it is hotter than you can fathom. Like a welder times double. 1 million watts of energy pouring into every home like a domino. So every time a pole falls, that home gets a surge of direct current because the DC is now in the lines. And then the DC will pour into their home, lighting their electric meter on fire and lighting their roof on fire because the wire would go to the roof. Then when that happens, the frequency is affected and the walls of the home, all the wires in there begin to light on fire and the home begins to burn from the inside out. And then the water lines, every home uses a water line to ground their electric component. If the DC is arcing, every water line connecting to every home becomes a channelization of electricity because it's conducting. The guys who are digging up the homes and the bodies in Lāhainā, they say all the copper water is completely destroyed. Every water line in Lāhainā is destroyed. How does that happen? It's only happening because it's conducting the arc. So that's why there's no water in the fire hydrants, because the poles are the pipes are melting because the water is conducting the direct current to every home. So your grounds become an interconnected web.
Wait, so are you referencing Palisades? Because I heard that there wasn't
It's
water.
the same thing.
That same thing happened in Lāhainā where there wasn't water in the water.
Yeah, you look at Lāhainā Luna,
the
there's
water
a
hydrants?
solar farm above it. Lāhainā's down here. You look at Palisades, you look at the mountains, right? Over those mountains is the Mojave Desert. the biggest solar distribution and generation plants in the Western Hemisphere are on the other side of the mountain of the Palisades. That energy comes directly from that desert, directly over the hill, and you notice these houses burn to ash, right? The tires melt, right? This is a result of direct current being poured into a 1970s grid that cannot handle the power of uninverted direct current. Nikola Tesla said, we need to go to DC. Thomas Edison said, no, let's go to AC, because AC causes you to reinvert the power and turn it into a 500 watts instead of, basically cut the DC in half with AC. That causes inverters. That calls for inverters, which calls for more money to be made. The more things you have to change about something, the more money you can charge. So it was basically a money grab, because DC can just be generated by the sun and the wind.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
I hope you guys are following.
So basically, in a summarized thing, the pole. Now this is not saying this happened.
This is your theory.
Not the theory. This is what took place minute by minute to explain how the fire was to do that. Everything for this to happen happened.
Was this ever confirmed by anybody, or did anybody else speak up on this on social media?
They don't know. They can't put it together. I put it together by watching the videos and seeing the electric meters on fire and seeing the roofs of the metal tin. How the hell are these houses lighting on fire? Like, it's impossible. I saw Burger Kings on fire. Dude, embers don't burn concrete. Embers don't light metal roofs on fire. Embers don't burn concrete structures and metal scaffolding within them to the ground.
So you're saying they're burned inside out, not outside out?
Inside out. The homes burn from the inside out.
Like, this is just an example of theory on 9/11, how I heard the buildings, it crumbled like this, like from
They
the
say
inside.
bombs burnt them from the inside. Yeah, they say the bombs did it. Yeah,
so it felt like this, because if it was from the outside, it would collapse like this.
I don't know anything about 9/11.
No, but that's just an example of the building, how it, like, something from the inside came down.
Yeah,
that's why it went like that.
Yeah.
So it's same with the houses. It came like that because all the wires are inside of the house.
It's in the roof.
So it went like this.
But you have to understand, cement structures do not burn. How are the McDonald's burning to the ground in the Palisades?
I don't know the difference of fire, like an electrical fire and a regular fire started from wood. Are they different heat levels, maybe? Like,
bro, it is the hottest thing you can think of. An electric fire, the metal's on fire.
Yeah.
A regular fire, wood is on fire.
Yeah. Your heat, I can see you got some,
I know I'm hot.
Yeah, your glasses.
Okay, wait. So I'm gonna summarize it in a nutshell for the Palisades and Lāhainā.
Yeah.
And I guess we can call it a theory, but this can 100% happen. I'm gonna summarize it. So for Palisades and Lāhainā, what I'm saying, through professional people, like the highest level specialists in electricity, in photovoltaic, hydroelectric, wind turbine, and biomass energy, I've talked to everybody about this problem of what could happen. And I asked this: if the grid was destabilized, what would happen? They said that immediate electric fires would take place, and everything would become a melting pot of unstable power that could destroy everything within the grid. When you look at Lāhainā, the grid is burnt perfectly. Lāhainā is the shape of an Eva bird. When you look at the satellite imaging of Lāhainā, you'll see an Eva bird, and its tail is the Kohoma stream. That Eva bird is now burnt to the ground and is ash. Lahaina's first name was Lele, because the land looked like it was jumping to the ocean. Now it's cruel solar heat. And when you look at it from the top, it looks like a bird. It's a phoenix. Lāhainā is a phoenix. And the ashes, under those ashes lie the truth to what happened in that place. And also under those ashes lie the future of our people and the reestablishment of our kingdom, if people want to step up and do the right thing and not be afraid to say like what I'm saying right now. They didn't give us no explanation. Where's the report? How do we not have a report, but there's been a lawsuit settlement already? Now no one's at fault other than those mainland companies telling us everything's going to be fine, and the Office of Legislature that approve this to happen. Vendors, people who pay for solar generation to happen on their land, the pumping of water, none of them are at fault. At the end of the day, they can't do nothing until the legislature is passed. The legislation is the problem. And I don't care what they say, because all of these problems, like the Wai'i in Lāhainā, it's not West Maui Land Company's problem. No, before it gets to West Maui Land Company, there's land it has to travel through. That land's owned by the Steel and R in the state. All right? Lāhainā is federally owned because it's a historic site. State doesn't care about Lāhainā, right? $4 billion is given after that happens, right? The DHHL said it would cost $6 billion to end all homelessness in the entire state for over a century, meaning every person gets a house, every person gets a salary paid for by the government for a century. That rail cost $12 billion. The settlement from Lāhainā is $4 billion. How are we still having homeless Hawaiians out and about, right? You look at Lāhainā, every single home that burnt never had a solar panel on it, because those solar panels have inverters on them. All the Safeway, the Burger King, all the Starbucks, they have backup generators. Generators generate DC energy. Solar panels generate DC energy. An inverter has to be installed for that home or that restaurant to intake the power. So how the hell are all of these structures still standing? The only structures that do survive are either on some weird temporary power, or, so for example, my boy Preston, I went to school with here. He's a big realtor in the Palisades. He had an Instagram story of his friend just going buck wild, straight cowboy with a water hose, a garden hose. And I think he was sucking water from the ocean, but he has his dream mansion in Malibu. Fires are coming and he's just screaming, yeah, let's go. I'm gonna be here until I die, like ready to die. And he's pumping water, right? So this is where my theory got checked, where I was like, did he fight the fire off? Because if this was true, you wouldn't be able to fight the fire off, right? So I call him and I go, how did that house survive? Like, did you have some kind of like alternate power, or were you, oh, no, the house was still under construction. The only house that never burnt down wasn't hooked up to the grid. And the house next to it, because the house next to it is also a part of that.
You know what's interesting? Because I've been to Lāhainā, the site where I did
this is
thing.
Palisades I'm talking about. Malibu.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is I went to Lāhainā to do this thing with Nickelodeon. And it was so weird to me how some houses were completely fine next to houses burnt down.
It's impossible.
So it's because they're off the grid maybe, or
they had an inverter of a solar panel thing.
The craziest thing is that
the Elon Musk Tesla inverter will save your house from burning to the ground. Do you know that Tesla?
Because so it like bounced back.
It inverts it to AC. So, and if it doesn't, it just cuts the flow. If there's any irregularity, that Elon Musk Tesla inverter will cut the flow. So there's the Elon Musk solar panels, and then there's the Kaon Energy bullshit, right? They know what they're doing. All those fires in the mountains from 2016, 2018, houses got burned. Like, those fires are 10 times the size of Lāhainā. And they're falling pole by pole by pole by pole, and the firefighters are just waiting for it to go out. You know, I feel like the firefighters are crying on the interview because they know the truth. He says, usually we win. This was so hard, right? And they're crying because they feel bad making it out alive. Like, that story they told made me so, I was crying when they're huddled, and then the one sergeant is walking around and he falls to his knees and he just doesn't want to live anymore. And he's just in the inferno of like 100-mile-an-hour wind, and then the firefighters run over there to grab the sergeant and drag him to their huddle, and they're trying to text their family, and their phone screens are cracking, and they're just like huddled there. They're just like, we're gonna die. And they're holding each other in this firestorm. Like, in the truck was too hot. Like, they were in the truck, the steering wheel was burning, the glass was melting. They had to get out because it was more chance to survive outside. And then they were just shelter in position. And then, like, can you imagine, like, holding each other, and then you're looking and you see one of your captains walking aimlessly, just walking with an oxygen mask. Like, they were pulling people out of houses and their arms were just coming off. They were melting. And the trauma, the level, everyone they were trying to save in the cars there died in front of them. They're trying to pull kapuna out of the old homes and their arms were coming off. Can you imagine? So the captain was doing this, and the captain lost his mind trying to save everybody. Can you imagine grabbing arms and they're just coming off?
Yeah.
And so he's just walking around, I don't want to live anymore.
Yeah.
And then they're all like holding each other and they see him. And then he like collapses to the ground and they could see his knees beginning to melt. And so they
Sounds
grabbed him and
straight
dragged
out
him
of
over
a
there.
movie.
And then I want to make a
Horror
movie about
movie.
this.
Oh my god.
The youngest one of the party dipped and was like, I'm gonna save everybody. Fuck this. And he commandeered a police SUV and he drove back into the fire and was tripping the siren and pulled up on the spot and screamed for everybody to get in. And so the youngest rookie dipped to save everybody. And they were trying to open the doors and the handles were just melting immediately when they would open the car door. So they used the axe to open it.
And they all got in.
They got in, but the one captain was hanging out the side because he was unconscious, like nearly dead. But the guy survived. Burned his.
I gotta look this up. There's a video of this?
There's an interview that Chelsea Davis did about the firefighters. And they're just crying the whole time.
That's
so it's like,
crazy.
whether they know or not, I don't know. But if they did know, they would sign NDAs from the government.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be allowed to say what happened. But if they're fighting it, everyone knows that the poles are the problem. The Paradise Fire, every fire that's happened in the mountains of Hawaii, what do you think happens when those fires happen? I used to think a glass bottle with the sun shining through it lit the fire. That's what I chalk it up to, right? But when I use the Google map, I found the ignition site. Every ignition site has a pole that's fallen down. And if no one can maintain and access these piece of shit poles that are way deep in the mountains, transferring direct energy from water dams, from solar to turbine. The turbines are spinning faster than they've ever spun in their life. So you have solar in Lāhainā, turbine and water diversion, and the one line sent to Malaya subdivision to store the energy and invert it is cut off. What's going to happen? In reality, where does that energy go? And Hawaii has no ability to control it. It's controlled by a company in the mainland who has to control it by means of Wi-Fi. So they weren't able to turn it off. In my opinion, I believe that the solar farm's energy fried the inversion system and everything to do with the system in place to be the breaker. And it sent its direct current directly into the AC grid built in the 1970s. And there was no possible way for the AC grid built in the 1970s to withstand the photovoltaic power of 1 million volts or watts or whatever, direct current. And every home burnt from the inside out. People who had backup generations or alternate powers, homes were spared, or a miracle happened, but it was all underground. All the water lines are melted completely. All the electric meters in every home are melted completely. All the fires you can see, go look at the footage again, are burning tin roofs, metal roofs. All the tires on the cars are melted because when a power line from a street light or the power line from the water line is inverting and arcing. If it's arcing and it's sending out that energy, the ground's going to become nuclear hot. 75 feet is the electric shock zone. 75 feet. So they say you have to shuffle your feet, right? Imagine people running into hot zones and just getting... The bodies were dissolved into dust. Like my friend guys were running for their lives and the friends behind them were like, we're not going anymore. We're too scared. And they just kept running. As soon as they could gather their breath, they went back and their friends, there was a spine and a skeleton. Like when I first got there was the day after the fire. I saw families. Everyone who died was hugging each other. Everybody. Like there was like a little baby and like a whole family. And the mom and the dad were like frozen, burnt black to a crisp, hugging a melted baby car seat. Like everyone was dead and they were hugging each other. And they didn't let anybody into Lāhainā. So I had snuck in. I went the day after and I just completely lost my mind bad because I couldn't believe that like they were lying so much about the death toll and about the confusion of the manipulation of their marketing. And I was telling all the Hawaiians, if you do not capitalize and go on TV and put your Venmo down or do whatever you can to exploit money from this situation because you have no other option, you're going to have nothing when this is over because the president's coming. And as soon as the president comes, this goes off air. That's the finale. When the president comes, no more coverage is happening after that. And that's why they sent them down here so fast. This is the worst natural disaster in history. Like the police captain is saying, oh, finally we have a clear answer about how many people are dead. And he said like 10,000 different things about like 98 this, 100 this. And then even the press was like, wait, so how many people are dead? Like, I thought this was a clear explanation. Got this guy from Las Vegas lying his ass off. Like, bro, here's the thing. 98 bodies are confirmed of who they are. Hundreds of bodies are non-existent. Dust. Like, if you went in the water and you went past 50 feet, you're dead. Bro, the water was covered in black and white electric smoke. Like, you're only safe 50 feet from the shore. If you go beyond that 50 feet, you're dead. You're gonna fucking die. It's just tornadoes of smoke and superheated air for miles out. And the one Hawaiian I talked to who was carrying his fucking grandma, he jumped in the water and he knows how to swim, but he swam almost to fucking Molokai because he was swimming back and the smoke was coming, bro. It's the saddest story, bro. He's swimming back, he's holding his grandma, and he's swimming back. And he can tell this thing he doesn't want to get caught in this wall of 1,000 feet of smoke, right? And there's a lot of people in the water. And they start to disappear one by one, and he hears them screaming. And then it just stops. And he's the only one out there alive. Like, everyone he swam out there with died from suffocation above the water. Can you imagine seeing all the people that you're with and that smoke covers them and you hear them screaming and then the screaming just stops and you get picked up holding your grandma? That guy's a soldier, bro. Like, Hawaiians suffered more traumatic. Hawaiians, Filipinos, Chinese, they're all Hawaiian, bro. They've been there 9 generations. What they suffered is unacceptable. Like, the level of trauma, the level of death, the level of unjust bullshit, the level of manipulation from the government, and the level of lies that have been told to us in the media, it's just sickening. And every last one of those politicians, every last one of those media stations like Hawaii News Now, they're all liars. Every last one of them lied about what happened. I was there and I offered my assistance, my footage. I even tried to make a documentary and everyone just runs. And no one cares that like hundreds of our people are dead and died in the worst way possible. Burned alive, bro. Because someone didn't want to fuck up the budget. It's all to do. Hawaiian Electric asked millions of times to change those poles. Everyone involved with the development of the solar had asked the government for $190 million to change that grid into a smart grid. The solution is change your grid to a smart grid. That's the solution. Tesla saw it in the beginning, and now it's happening right now. The Palisades is a direct, exactly what I said was going to happen, happened again. And I said this 100 times. This can happen anywhere, to buildings, to houses, to Hawaiian homelands. All Hawaiian homelands projects are generated through photovoltaic, hydroelectric, or wind turbine energy. Our people as Hawaiians are the most at risk to die from something like this because our grids are the most under cared, most underappreciated, and oldest. Whatever grid we have in Hawaiian homelands at Aloha was installed over 50 years ago, right? But Aloha is all powered through solar. My family lives there. All it takes is that pole to fall, the wrong pole to fall, arc the inverter, and direct current goes into the homes of every living person there. The only way the fires go out is when the poles stop falling.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I honestly don't know if they know. I honestly don't know. I know some people do.
Maybe after this, they'll know.
I'm not trying to blame anybody. I haven't mentioned any names.
Yeah.
But I know that none of this happens without legislature. And if I speak on this, I know everything I said is not wrong because it can happen. There is no denying that if you cut off the transmission line to the power inversion station and the relay breaker malfunctions and the solar energy pours into the relay breaker and more poles fall and somehow the direct current makes its way into one line, it will send DC into the grid and burn every house from the inside out and kill everyone that is down there. This first time in history that the cars are melting. What other explanation do you have? How's the ground getting hot? It's because the water lines are being pumped with DC, the copper, the street lights. All the ground's energy is being superheated because it's arcing. Now, tell me one place that solar was not anywhere present that these wildfires has happened. Do wildfires happen in Texas? They don't, right? Because Texas doesn't believe in this democratic agenda of renewable energy. It's a corporational business, bro. You know what I'm saying? We've been off of this electricity, like Kaua'i doesn't even no more gas generation, no nothing. Elon Musk created a hydroelectric generator down there that powers the whole island. There is no reliance on energy down there other than the Koloa stream. The Koloa stream and Elon Musk partnered up, and Kaua'i no longer generates power from gas generators, although the Hawaiian homelands communities get theirs from solar.
Yeah. Okay. I think you shared a lot about all these things, and I think that's a lot for us to take in and digest. So we'll keep it at that. But mahalo for sharing all of that, because we're getting long. I have to end the podcast.
I'm saying this because I want people to help figure it out.
Yeah, maybe this will kickstart people to dig into these things and maybe investigate on their own.
I don't like lying.
Yeah, and I don't trust the government just as much as,
I would like to work with them and perpetuate our culture.
Well, I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't do that. I just don't believe they have our best interest.
No, it's
all about money. And we saw that with COVID.
Remove the leadership and replace it with us.
Yeah.
With our generation. With Brenton Alva's generation.
Yeah,
we're gonna get somewhere.
I think it'll happen. I think we're just a little too early. But we have to be strong. We have to endure. We have to be patient. As you know, with a lot of things going on in your life, you have to be patient. So I think that's what we can do now.
What can we do to help people? Like maybe kill your power. Maybe.
Well, we talk about it. We're putting it out into the public.
I don't know how to save yourself in a situation like that.
Yeah,
I would think kill the power.
I'm not sure. Maybe somebody's gonna see it and do a tutorial on. I just shared a tutorial on how not to drown. Maybe somebody's gonna.
I can't wait for people to investigate and see how to.
Yeah,
because I'm positive
too.
That's what happened.
Yeah,
but I'm not blaming, and I'm not defamatorying, and I'm not coming in here with slander. I don't want to get sued for no bullshit. I'm just saying what I saw happen, exactly what I said could have taken place for it to happen.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of merit to what you're saying. So, then let us know what you think about this. We'll cut some of these clips up and put them on social media, so we'll get a general public reaction from it. But before,
do you get it though?
I get it. It makes sense. I can't even explain it, but what you said, I understand it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to listen back to this and timestamp it, so I'll get to listen to it again. And after I reflect on it a little bit, I'm going to go and talk to Fade about it too.
I'm risking so much saying this, bro.
No, I appreciate it. I think you sharing is very brave, and people are gonna comment a lot on this part in this episode, and I'm excited to see what they say.
The solution is this: change the grid.
Yeah, I think that's
fix the grids. And make them smart grids.
Yeah.
If you're going to create that technology.
Think about people over money.
Yeah.
How about we do that
for
once?
Renewable energies into grids that must be inverted.
Yeah.
Change the grid so it is safe. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. So again, mahalo for sharing that. I want to know, before we start to wrap this up, is what is one thing you wish people knew about you that they don't?
My generosity. Yeah. And my intentions are not for my self-benefit. They are literally to help the world become a better place, because I see so many people suffering and it's not hard. Like a lot of people chalk it up to me being like crazy, intense, unstable, abusive. All I'm doing is trying to make you believe in yourself. When your interactions are with me, I'm telling you, don't blow this opportunity. I've believed in people more than anyone's ever believed in them, and they've betrayed me worse than they've ever betrayed anybody, because so many people don't believe that they should be great. They don't believe they deserve it. They're programmed by society. They care too much about what other people think. Like, I'm not here to hurt anyone's feelings. I'm not here to take advantage of anybody. Those who don't like me hate themselves for not liking themselves enough to accomplish their dreams and for betraying me. They will go and make up all these lies about me to back up their excuse for why they walked away from the project. But in the end of the day, it's consistent with me achieving. There has never been someone who has stuck it out with me who has ever failed, ever. But those who run, where are they today? And yeah, I'm not a bad person, and I'm here for everybody.
I think you're misunderstood.
Yeah.
And one quote that I love, I learned it not too long ago, was that we judge others on their action, not their intention. And we judge ourselves on our intention, not our actions.
Yeah.
Because we know we mean good. You know, whenever I say something, whenever I do something, I'm like, well, I had the greatest intention, even if it was misconstrued, even if it was taken as something disrespectful. You know, that's why we're like, oh, but I didn't mean to do that. You know, I didn't mean to make you cry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't mean to offend you. And, you know, we judge others on their action. Like, dude, why did you do that? That was so rude. That was so offensive. You
We
know?
believe what other people say. That's what I hate. People do that all the time.
I think we have to keep that in mind. Is like, we don't know people's intention. Nobody knows your intention except yourself.
That's one thing I ask. One thing I ask everyone to do is don't make your decision to work or collaborate or get to know someone based off what someone says about them. And if they do say something about them, look at that person's achievements, their intentions, their spirit, and has that person made more of a positive influence on the world, on humanity, on the culture, on the greater good of human life than the person they are speaking negatively about? Because if someone has not made a bigger influence, a bigger impact, a bigger show of generosity and contribution to humanity, that person speaking negatively about someone should not say another word negative if they cannot compare to the person. Your personal feelings of someone does not matter in the sense of action taken. Government should not be worried about if they like someone or not. They should be worried about who's capable of getting the job done or not. This is called bias. And Hawaii is bias on everything. Dude, you're living an illegal life. The bias is not, that's called discrimination. It's illegal. Your personal feelings are not the dictator of the outcome of the action. It's whoever is capable enough, whoever has the most accolades, whoever has the most achievements that must be prioritized as the person to get the job done. And if your personal opinion interferes with that, we should start prosecuting people that do that, whether it's in government or everyday life, because the mouths of the toxicity here in Hawaii are the reason why so many people have not achieved their dreams. So many people are broken because they feel betrayed, or they find out someone they thought loved them doesn't like them because they don't want to see them succeed. Everyone should be ashamed of themselves if they've said something negative about someone that stopped them from achieving something with the person they said it to. I have never stopped someone from achieving that.
Yeah.
So,
and I love that about you. You're a real good hype man. You speak very highly on people, even the people that have done you wrong and that bridges have been burned. You still talk very highly and you respect them. I think people just have boredom in their life, and then they take to social media to
just
get
hate.
whatever it out. But I'll tell you this. Don't listen to anybody whose life you don't want. You know, if they're saying all
They
these
would
things
switch
about
places
you,
with me like that.
what is it? They're just talking, out their butt. Who cares about them? If they're commenting on your life, you don't want their life. So why are you gonna listen to them? Why are you gonna
learning
take advice
every day?
Yeah, and as you should.
I'm still learning how to grasp and handle the trolling.
And it's gonna happen as you have another episode on this podcast, and it reaches a lot of people. So
it's so easy.
It comes with the territory when you do good things.
I just want to thank you for believing in me.
I support
I love you.
all Hawaiians, and I love you too. And you have a lot of fans now, even though you may have some haters. You have a lot of people that support you. So just remember that positivity.
Oh, for sure. Okay? There was way more positive than negative.
Totally, and there always is. It's just the negative is louder. Okay. Do you have a life hack? I don't know if you thought about one last episode, but if you could think of one right now and share it before we get to our last questions.
A life hack?
Yeah.
understanding what people want, it can get you what you want, and everyone wants to be accepted. So if you can offer acceptance in something that they're trying to be accepting in, you're more likely to succeed with that person or get what you want from that person.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was your most direct, good answer of the whole entire
That's my
two
life.
episodes.
Yeah, that's my life.
That was very direct,
Yeah.
very strong. Nice. Okay, last fast 5 questions and we'll wrap this up, okay? These are just rapid fire answers, okay? Favorite guilty pleasure?
Blockbusters.
Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Like what? What's your favorite movie?
Like Man of Steel.
Oh,
I
nice,
love
nice.
300.
They're gonna make a new Superman movie.
Yeah, I love blockbusters over quality films.
But RIP Blockbuster.
Blockbuster.
The rental. DVD rental. place.
Yeah, I'm talking about big
Yeah,
movies. Yeah.
Favorite work snack? What are you snacking on?
The
when you're
tuna and
working?
crackers. You know those like little disgusting blue tuna relish packets? The ones they have in Crafty on set? It's like a blue can that's been super vacuum sealed. And you crack it open and there's relish and tuna and crackers. Oh, it's I watch all my crew steal those and take those home. They're
That's so
delicious.
funny.
Yeah.
Okay, favorite hobby?
Hobby
Mm-hmm.
would be bodyboarding probably, but I don't do it as much.
Yeah.
No. Now my favorite hobby
Okay.
is research. History
learning.
research. History research. Yeah.
Okay, favorite way to relax? How do you recharge?
I don't relax. I will relax
Once you accomplish everything.
when I have enough. Like if I have a lot of money in the bank and I have a stagnation where I'm like, what can I do? I'll go to like Kaua'i to a super nice, go home and rent a massive house or a hotel and fully be a tourist. That's how you relax. But I don't see that happening for another year and a half.
Okay, well that's true. I respect that.
Yeah.
Okay, and last one. Favorite thing you filmed?
Everything I filmed? We Are Mauna Kea over my movies.
Yeah,
Because
just
We Are
because
Mauna
of cultural
Kea
impact.
did something.
Yeah,
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, well that's all we got for you as you sip on your applesauce. I didn't
Is
even
this
know
yours?
where did you even get that
From
from?
here. It's like a
but,
children's
Hey,
movie.
we made it, guys. We made it. Etienne didn't leave. He sat in the chair the whole time.
Mhm.
I just want to say mahalo for sharing everything and opening up and giving people a lot of good content, good things to think about.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we got to just come together
Yeah.
and figure this out as a unified front
Yeah.
because it just happened again,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
Melted cars, the whole trip. It's only going to get worse, so we just got to change the grid and figure out how.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to share before we wrap up? If not, tell us where we can find you.
I just want to share that if you have any way to help the Echo, or you might know someone that would want to donate to the 501c3 to create the educational, artistic art pieces, or tell our stories in movies, or anything like that, please don't hesitate to tell someone in power to check it out or set a meeting with us. Reach out to you. You're a board member, and the Echo is something that is anyone can join. Anyone can join. Anyone can be a member. And once you're a member, you'll be a part of one hell of a experience. You'll have abilities to vote where money is spent. You'll have abilities to connect directly to us and contribute, or your kids, will help them become famous influencers of the Hawaiian culture, whether it's music, acting, telling our stories. Our company is the future. And I just want everyone to accept that fact because there's nothing that can compare. And we're doing it. We did the gallery. We brought our elite to the forefront. And now everywhere in the city wants that to happen. When we start to change the physical landscape of where we live, there should be no more disagreements, and we should be given governmental level support with budgets to advertise the culture and bring this podcast to the next dimension and create our own indigenous TV streaming service. I just want people to just understand our ideas are the way forward because we've spent our whole life creating them to be so. And
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I'd like to add one last thing too, is that you have people commenting on you and how you do things and who you are, your personality. And it's different than, the normal person. You're different. And the people that are trying to talk down, like if you think something's really wrong with him, you don't want to work with him, you think he's on something, he's high. Why say that? I don't go to the homeless person and be like, hey, you're cracked out on drugs.
Yeah.
No, you go, you buy him a musubi from 7-Eleven and you give it to them. you offer help. You don't
Yeah.
offer judgment.
Yeah.
So that's like how I'm with you. You know, before I met you, I was like, this guy's crazy.
Yeah.
I got to know you. You know, I wasn't judgmental. I was curious. I wanted to know who you are. I
the best
wanted to
thing,
know your
curious.
heart. I wanted to see your talents firsthand. And I saw that, you know, and you are different than any other friend that I have. And that's just you, you know, and whether you know, make mistakes, whether you've made mistakes, whether you will make mistakes in the future, you know, I think true aloha is giving a helping hand. It's not saying, dang, that guy might be going down the wrong path. I'm going to dip out. I don't want to be part of it. It's like, no, I'm going to stand there by your side. I'm going to help you up. I'm going to pick you up if you fall down.
Yeah, I'm not perfect. I'm just real.
And I think and I love that. So, you know, I want to just share that message with everybody before we wrap up.
Thank you,
you know, to me, that's a great way of keeping it aloha. But yeah, I just want to say mahalo once again, Etienne, for joining us on the Keep It Aloha podcast. Spread love, be kind to one another, and mahalo for listening to us today. We have new episodes every Thursday, so make sure you follow us and leave a review. I'm your host, Kamaka. Remember to always keep it aloha.